Chapter 141 Winning the Championship. For others, Yi Shinu's various practices can be described as bold. Is it boring to fight with a true disciple on the spot? The value of an inner disciple and a true disciple is too different. Even if Luo Yifan killed Yi Shiwen in a fit of anger, the sect would not necessarily give Luo Yifan much discomfort. But for Yi Shiwen, Luo Yifan's killing intent was already out of nowhere, and the two sides were almost torn apart. It would be meaningless to maintain the apparent harmony. Instead, he appeared to be afraid. Sooner or later, both sides would want to. When the conflict broke out, Luo Yifan was thinking about how to get rid of Yi Shiwen. And Yi Shiwen also has thousands of strategies to kill Luo Yifan in his mind. There is only one way out for both parties. Either you die or I live. But for the other disciples, they don't know the various things, the reasons are not known. They just think Luo Yifan is very strange. How can he suddenly improve the skills of his subordinates, and Yi Shiwen even more strange, to challenge a true disciple in public? Is this too long for life? Of course not. Yi Shiwen naturally has his own plans, because he knows that Lin Zontian is on the high platform. If Luo Yifan wants to do something to himself, Lin Zontian can't help himself. Although Luo Yifan is strong, Lin Zontian is not a persimmon. Therefore, Yi Shiwen's seemingly risky move was actually very safe and completely calculated. That's why Yi Shiwen blocked Luo Yifan's mouth with reason, making him look arrogant and unreasonable. Bold, what kind of thing are you? You dare to challenge me? Luo Yifan shouted angrily from the high platform, followed by a terrifying aura that locked Yi Shiwen firmly, as if a mighty force like the sky was going to crush Yi Shiwen. This is the prestige of true disciples. True disciples, to a certain extent, have returned to their basics and understood some laws of the world, so they are real people, and their coercion, to a certain extent, is not their personal strength, but with the help of the power of heaven and earth. How can ordinary people compete with the power of heaven and earth? Poison. Yi Shiwen only felt that a terrifying force was exerted on him. Just when Yi Shiwen was about to drive the real essence in his body to start counterattack, suddenly, the Tianyuan mirror in Yi Shiwen's body suddenly moved, exuding a kind of a faint glow of blood wrapped Yi Shiwen in it. Suddenly, Yi Shiwen only felt that the terrifying coercion had disappeared without a trace. Yi Shiwen calmed his mind and said with a faint smile, "Senior Brother Luo's words are wrong. I'm not fighting with Brother Luo, but I'm afraid that Brother Luo will forget the ancestral rules, so I reminded him specially." On the stage, there was Luo Yifan's questioning voice. He didn't expect his coercion to be able to lock Yi Shiwen. He still remembered how Yi Shiwen was embarrassed under his coercion last time, how he was able to ignore it so quickly. His coercion is over. This kid really has some ways. Luo Yifan is even more determined to kill Yi Shiwen. Okay, there is no question of life and death on the arena, this matter will end here. At this time, the only Supreme Elder spoke on the high platform. The status of the Supreme Elder is much higher than that of ordinary elders. Even a true disciple like Luo Yifan has to be obedient. No one has a high status and can't beat him. Perhaps only the top disciple of the true way like Qi Fifan, in order to be comparable to the elders. Yi Shiwenming knew that this Supreme Elder was fighting with mud, but he didn't mean to go on. As long as the strength is enough, the situation will turn around. This time, Yi Shiwen won. There is no controversy about Yi Shiwen's victory in this game. That's not it. They are the great people who dare to challenge the true disciples. What are the others? Little brother, if you challenge a true disciple like this, I'm afraid he will use any means to deal with you in the future. Yi Feng said worriedly as he walked to Yi Shiwen's side. Brother, don't worry, it's okay, he can't do anything to me. Besides, there's no difference between me and him. He wanted to kill me for a long time. Then Zhu Bingshun is because he has improved his strength and wants to beat me on the ring. Kill, Yi Shiwen explained. Then what to do? Yi Feng became anxious all of a sudden. Although he was also a proud and arrogant person, he also knew what kind of concept a true disciple was. For the huge One Yuan sect, which has more than 100,000 people, those true disciples are the ultimate goal of their cultivation. Don't worry. I'm not someone who can't help but let him kill without fighting back. Yi Shiwen said, comforting Yi Feng. Yi Shiwen's words made Yi Feng feel relieved immediately. Although he was still a little worried, he knew that his little brother had suddenly changed more than a year ago. From his ordinary aptitude, he had turned into foresight. Many things where the calculation is well done, and there are few unsure battles. This time Yi Shiwen said this, he must have his own plans. But no matter what, you have to be more careful. Even if Luo Yifan doesn't make a move, there are still many experts in his Yifan shrine. If they make a move, it will be very dangerous. Yi Feng said. Don't worry, I'm measured. Yi Shi said, not wanting to put too much pressure on his eldest brother. The next game, Yi Shiwen, Nangong Wang. Finally, it was Yi Shiwen's last game. The opponent in this game was the previous champion, Nangong Wang. Nangong Wang is dressed in a gorgeous robe and has an excellent demeanor, like a graceful and elegant son of the world. It is said that Nangong Wang is also from the famous Nangong family of the Deu Kingdom. His strength can be called the top among the inner disciples, even some of the core disciples are not his opponents either. Junior brother Yi, congratulations to the great progress of the younger brother's cultivation. Brother Yu also knows that he can't be the opponent of the younger brother, but I still hope that I can discuss some tricks with the younger brother Yi. Nangong Wang cupped his hands and said, although he admits that he is not as good as others, but still it is personable, and it is difficult to make people feel bad. Yi Shiwen nodded and said with a smile, in that case, senior brother Nangong, please do it. It is really hard to make people feel disgusted with such people. Yi Shiwen is not an aggressive person either. Aggressiveness will only be against his enemies. Friends come and drink well. Jackal comes with only a shotgun. The kind of thing that gets hit on the right cheek and sticks out the left cheek to be hit, is not Yi Shiwen's style. Immediately, Nangong Wang's aura was completely released, and he was no smaller than Zhu Bingshun before. No wonder he was unwilling to fight Yi Shiwen. Even many warriors with such strength are not the opponents of Nangong Wang. The only difference is the last step. Quantitative change causes qualitative change. As long as this step is taken, I am afraid that I will immediately enter the peak of innate 6th layer, and will soon reach innate 7th layer. This is definitely a very remarkable character. No wonder he can see the first seed disciple. Such a person, if there is no Yi Shiwen, even Zhu Bingshun may not be his opponent. After all, Zhu Bingshun himself was forcibly promoted by others, and it is completely different from someone with deep roots like Nangong Wang. Junior brother Yi, be careful. Nangong Wang reminded him from his background, and then a long rock with a yellowish color swept out in an instant. In a blink of an eye, the entire field was surrounded by smoke and dust, as if entering a desert filled with wind and sand. With the help of the wind and sand covering the brocade, this khaki-colored long pan instantly split the air, and after passing a khaki-colored imprint in the sky, it stabbed straight towards Yi Shiwen in an instant. Yi Shiwen was prepared for a long time, and his body had already swelled up with thick true essence, blocking all the wind and sand from the outside, and even concentrated the true essence in his eyes, and his eyesight suddenly increased greatly. These wind and sand could not stop Yi Shiwen's eyesight. Yi Shiwen didn't dodge, but just grabbed his palm, turned it into a dragon claw, and grabbed towards Chong Pan, who was stabbing rapidly. He wanted to defeat Nangong Wang in the easiest way and force Nangong Wang to give up. Boom! Nangong Wang's Changpan slashed into Yi Shiwen's palm, and a violent collision exploded the air, and the pseudo-spirit sword was caught by Yi Shiwen, unable to move at all. Under the training, it has been sturdy to a shocking level, and under the package of real essence, even the pseudo-spiritual weapon can't damage him in the slightest. Hey! Nangong Wang let out a low voice, and suddenly the whole Chengshi made a buzzing sound in an instant, and the surrounding sandstorms gathered in an instant, condensed into a long sandstorm sword, and stabbed towards Yi Shiwen. Disperse! Yi Shiwen shouted loudly. The real essence spread out layer by layer like a wave, and the long rock of wind and sand was instantly disintegrated in Yi Shiwen's real essence ocean waves, and returned to normal sand. At this time, Yi Shiwen also increased the amount of real yuan in his hands, directly suppressing the riot of natural yellow and stupid, and imprisoning a trace of Nangong Wang's soul in it. Immediately, the entire earth yellow-colored Chengpan calmed down, and no longer resisted. The quiet shyness was in Yi Shiwen's hands. Senior brother Nangong, accept it. Yi Shiwen said with Huang Se Chengpan in his hand. Thank you junior brother Yi for showing mercy. Nangong Wang said bitterly, desperately trying, but still failed. This match, Yi Shiwen, wins. The champion of this seated disciple competition is Yi Shiwen. Chapter 142 Demon Realm. The fact that Yi Shiwen unexpectedly became the chief disciple of Zongwu quickly spread out in the One Yuan sect. Yi Shiwen broke all the records. If we say that before, Yi Shiwen can only be regarded as equal to the previous record of Chi Feihan, but now Yi Shiwen is a new disciple, he became the chief seed disciple, and the news swept through the entire One Yuan sect in an instant. You must know that in the past, almost all of those who were able to break into the seed disciples in the first year have now become true disciples, and those who failed to do so all died halfway, but before they fell, they all existed for a while. What's more, Yi Shiwen, the guy who broke all records. The chief seed disciple of the inner sect is almost equal to the chief of the inner sect disciple. This title has been completely established. In addition to this, the contradiction between Yi Shiwen and Luo Yifan, I don't know who passed through, all of them exploded at once. It is rumored that Luo Yifan suspected that someone in the Luo family died at Yi Shiwen's hands, but Yi Shiwen refused to admit it, so Luo Yifan planned to kill the wrong one. In short, there was a lot of uproar for a while. Yi Shiwen is now completely famous among the main sect, and even left a sufficient impression on the hearts of the true disciples and some elders. A very big development, although there are still many people who are very taboo about the contradiction between Yi Shiwen and Luo Yifan. Although Yi Shiwen is powerful, it is very likely that he will become the top disciple of the true way in the future, but that is also in the future. It is realistic to face the possible revenge of Luo Yifan, which makes many people doubt the future prospects of Qian Yujie, but there are also many people who are willing to give it a try, join Qian Yujie, and enjoy the future glory. Yi Shiwen still doesn't care about Qian Yudi's affairs. With Yi Feng, Yan Qilling and the others are in charge. Yi Shiwen received the reward of the chief seed disciple from an elder of the sect. He was awarded more than 50,000 yuan for mid-grade spirit stones alone. It can be said that he really had to train these seed disciples. In previous years, not even 1/10, this time, it was all to fight against those disciples who worshipped the demon cult, so the sect was so generous. Of course, there are still many people who are very slanderous, and as the chief, Yi Shiwen has 3, Nangong Wang in the second seat has 2, and there is only 1 in the third seat. Because Shengshenggeheden only increases the chance of success, it is not necessarily successful, so the sect will reward a few more. After finishing these things, Yi Shiwen and the other seed disciples will go to a small world in the depths of the One Yuan sect. This small world is called Nightmare Demon Realm, where endless demons are kept in captivity, and the history is long unknown. For so many years, this is completely different from the Nightmare clan in the illusory Nightmare Realm who was caught by the great power of Zongmen. This Nightmare Realm is rumored to be a long, long time ago. There is a great power developed in the Nightmare world, and the Nightmare world is shattered, the huge space is cracked, and many fragments are shattered, and the Nightmare Realm is one of the fragments, which was later given to life by the ancestors of the Yuan sect with great magical powers. Pulled from chaos. The Nightmare clan in it are all born and raised, and they have their own inheritance, which is very difficult to deal with. There are even many Nightmare clan at the true Dao level. Generally speaking, they are only open to the true disciple level on weekdays. The reason why it is now open to let these seed disciples in is also for training, for the meeting between the 4 major sects and the royal family in a month. In addition to the seed disciples among these inner disciples, there are also seed disciples among the core disciples, and even true disciples are allowed to enter it for cultivation. Everything is for the East China Sea meeting in a month. Standing outside the Nightmare Demon, a huge stone gate blocked the Nightmare Demon realm and the One Yuan sect. Outside the Shimen, there were 10 elders from the One Yuan sect. Although these elders did not appear in front of many disciples on weekdays, they did not. People dare to underestimate these people, because these elders are all super masters of the true way. There are no exceptions. There are many nightmares of the true way in the Nightmare realm, so they have to send the elders of the true way to come to guard the gate in person. The seed disciples among these inner sect disciples were all led by an elder to the Nightmare realm, otherwise they might not even be able to find a place. After the formalities were handed over, one of the 10 gatekeeper elders said, "You have to think about it, in the Nightmare realm, there are many dangers. If you are not careful, you will die. You are all the best among the inner disciples, and it is not a problem to be promoted to the core disciples in the future, even some of you. People have the opportunity to become disciples of the true way. If you die here, it's not worth it. You have to leave now, it's too late, think about it. While speaking, the elder glanced at the disciples, and when he saw that no one had withdrawn, he didn't say much. A spiritual art was played, and the huge stone gate opened rumblingly. A huge amount of energy spewed out. In addition to this, it was a feeling of coldness and coldness. After confirming that no one had quit, 100 seed disciples entered the nightmare realm one after another according to their rankings. Looking at the disciples who entered, one of the 10 elders guarding the gate sighed and said, 100 elites enter. I really don't know how many people will be able to come out alive in a month. 1. As long as they can. If there is one who is successful, then this time it will not be in vain. Another elder said, now the movement of the nightmare cult is getting bigger and bigger. It is simply aggressive. In this case, we do not have time to let these disciples slowly. When you grow up, as long as there is one true disciple, the sacrifices of others are worth it. The law of the jungle, which is enough to win or lose, is vividly reflected at this time. In other words, the genius in the eyes of ordinary people is indeed like cutting a leek, cutting one, and growing another, endless. It is difficult to have a true disciple, and it is not always possible to have one disciple out of 10,000. Therefore, among these 100 people, as long as one person benefits from this and is promoted to a true disciple, then it is worthwhile for the others to die. The reality is cruel. Everyone knows, including those seed disciples. They all know that among them, only one person may stand out, and the others will be stepping stones, but they all feel that it should be themselves. No one thinks you will be a stepping stone yourself. Soon, Yi Shiwen entered the nightmare realm. Yi Shiwen did not choose to go with others, but went alone. The environment in this nightmare realm is similar to the original illusory nightmare realm. There is a desolate scene everywhere, there are hellfires everywhere, and the sky is also a gray scene. There is no day or night. There are no seasonal changes. This is the real nightmare world. For humans, even a successful martial artist will feel very uncomfortable, let alone ordinary people. There is no way to survive in this situation. Therefore, the nightmare clan that was born in the nightmare world, because of the harsh environment of the nightmare world, tends to be extraordinarily powerful, and at the same time, they also yearn for the good environment in the world in which humans live. Thinking of a way to invade, this is also the root cause of the countless years of war between Junwu Realm and Nightmare Realm. The Nightmare clan simply did not regard the human race as intelligent beings of the same level, and even felt that the human race did not deserve to enjoy such a good environment. The purpose has been like this for countless years, and slowly it has turned from a contradiction into a feud, and then into a mortal enemy. Yi Mo stood on Yi Shiwen's shoulders, and he was small and almost weightless. He took a deep breath of the nightmare chi in the nightmare realm, and suddenly felt refreshed. Although he is not a nightmare clan, he should be regarded as a kind of nightmare spirit. Although there is not much difference between Reiki and demonic chi, he still prefers nightmare chi. Yi Shiwen, I don't think that Luo Yifan will let you go easily. I think he will attack you here soon. Yi Mo said. Well, I know. Yi Shiwen nodded. That's why, even though I know the danger in Nightmare Realm, but I don't act with other disciples. Who knows how many of them are Luo Yifan's spies? Yi Shiwen said that among those disciples, he didn't know how many spies of Luo Yifan, and they might go to tip off Luo Yifan, which would be very dangerous. It would be better for Yi Shiwen to act on his own. This is safer. Although Yi Shiwen was also planning how to kill Luo Yifan, he knew very well that compared with Luo Yifan, his strength was too weak, or he was not at the same level of strength. Before Luo Yifan's strength died, Yi Shiwen had to be careful in everything. If he couldn't be careful, then only Yi Shiwen himself would die. Before you have enough strength, you must be careful in everything and can't be careless. Now that you are cultivating alone, it is just right. For others, it may be very dangerous here, but for you, it is a great place. Yi Mo said. How? Yi Shiwen asked. For others, those nightmares are very dangerous, but for others, those nightmares are nothing to you. Yi Mo said, the Tianyuan mirror itself is the body of the great nightmare monarch. Magical implements, for those Nightmare Clan, are the natural nemesis. As long as you wear the Tianyuan mirror, you are the next generation king of Nightmare Clan, and for you, they are everything you asked for. Chapter 143 Asura. For others, those demons are very dangerous, but for others, those demons are nothing to you. Yimo said, the Tianyuan mirror itself belongs to the great monarch of the demons. Carrying magic weapon, for those demons, it is a natural nemesis. As long as you carry the Tianyuan mirror, you are the next generation king of the demons. They are what you want for you. Yi Shiwen suddenly remembered that before the blood pool, when he saw the demons in front of Yimo, they were like slaves worshipping gods. Suddenly some believe, Yimo kept shouting that his previous master was the great king of the demon world, and those demons were his slaves. But these demons have been isolated from the world for so long, so they won't recognize you. Yi Shiwen said, unlike the demons who came from the demon world, the demons in the demon realm have been isolated from the world for a long time. Even if they don't recognize it, it's nothing, the Tianyuan mirror has a restraint on them. Yimo said, you are the master of the Tianyuan mirror, the next great king of the demon world, and they are all your slaves. Yimo said. Yi Shiwen didn't care about what Yimo said about slaves. The important thing was strength. Even if what Yimo said was true, his previous master was the monarch of the demon world, and he was able to rule the demon world. The source mirror, but relies on its own powerful strength. If you don't have the strength, you want to accept those cruel demons as slaves, wouldn't that be courting death? But one thing, Yi Shiwen can be sure, the Tianyuan mirror should have a great restraint effect on the demons. Yi Shiwen didn't stop, and ran all the way to the depths of the demon realm. On a piece of land in the depths of the demon realm, Yi Shiwen was entangled by more than a dozen Asura demons. Each of these Asura demons was extremely terrifying above the 6th level. Among the demons, the Asuras also belong to the prestigious family, and they are very impressive, even more powerful than the demons. These Asuras all rushed towards Yi Shiwen with a strange smile. These Asuras belong to the Asura clan among the demons, but they are all slaves at the bottom. The great Asuras of the real noble class are born to be masters of the true way. Yimo stood on Yi Shiwen's shoulders and gave Yi Shiwen a hand, said the introduction. Yi Shiwen whispered to himself, he was born a master of true Taoism. This race is going against the sky. In the demon world, there has always been the so-called 8 royal families, and the Asura family has always been one of them, invincible in both vertical and horizontal directions. The ancestor of the Asura family, the great Asura body, is invincible in the world, and once served as the monarch of the demon world. That's why these Asuras are so powerful. Yimo told Yi Shiwen the secrets of the demon world like a family treasure. Yi Shiwen listened to Yimo's explanation, but his hands kept on slapping out the palms of his hands, sweeping up a terrifying hurricane, constantly resisting the attacks of these Asuras. An Asura rushed over, a pair of hands condensed into fists, and slammed towards Yi Shiwen. It was an extremely clever boxing technique called Ashura Fist. Back then, the ancestor of the Ashura tribe was invincible in the world with Ashura Fist. By their time, although there is not much of the essence, it is still an excellent boxing technique, and it is a great example. The Asuras are unparalleled in flesh, even among the tyrannical demons, they are second to none and invincible. They firmly believe that their flesh is the best divine weapon. There is nothing in the world that they cannot break with their fists. Yi Shiwen was not afraid at all. He stepped forward, spread his palms, Panlong's palms. The dragon came out of the abyss, his hands condensed into dragon claws, and instantly greeted him. Boom, boom, boom. The fists and palms faced each other, and there was a sound of bang-bang metal collision. Roar. The Asura screamed, both arms drooped down softly, and was broken by Yi Shiwen's beating. Asura's body is unparalleled, and it is indeed very powerful, but Yi Shiwen's dominant body art is even more impressive. Unparalleled. Yimo once said inadvertently that this exercise is extremely powerful. It is a powerful exercise in the real martial arts world that used to be considered extremely powerful. The physical body of the Asura tribe is indeed powerful, but it should not be the practice of dominance. Yi Shiwen's opponent, unless someone born with the great Asura body appears. But there have been many years without such Shura appearing. Yi Shiwen wanted to ask a few more questions, but Yimo kept a secret, so Yi Shiwen didn't ask any more questions. Yi Shiwen shot out with one palm, and the dragon's claws were looming. Bang! The Asura screamed and was slapped to death by Yi Shiwen's palm. The Tianyuan mirror in Yi Shiwen's body instantly emitted a blood-red luster, and the essence of the Asura was instantly absorbed. The traffic police light, and then transformed into the most original essence, without any demons, poured into Yi Shiwen's body and was absorbed by Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen only felt that the skill on his body was a little deeper, and his face suddenly burst into joy, and said, "I didn't expect this Tianyuan mirror to be really effective, but there won't be any sequelae." Of course not. This is the magic weapon of the great monarch of the demon world. Do you think it is the same as those low-level human beings and demons? Yi Mo was a little disdainful of Yi Shiwen's caution. Yi Shiwen nodded. He really didn't feel anything wrong with the influx of essence, but it was purer than his own essence. Yi Shiwen was immediately overjoyed, and the rise of killing only rushed into those Asura groups. Boom, boom, boom. Those Asura fists slammed into Yi Shiwen's body, but Yi Shiwen's body instantly swelled up endless real energy, and Yi Shiwen's clothes were completely swelled up. These fists were destroyed by Yi Shiwen's real yuan. It leaked away in an instant, and it couldn't do any damage to Yi Shiwen at all. Yi Shiwen didn't even draw out the long knife. He was full of slaughter, and the dragon palm was fully used. As the antenna kept jumping between the Asura groups, Yi Shiwen could blow the air with each palm. The place more than a mile away is all under Yi Shiwen's palm. Slowly, Yi Shiwen didn't stick to the palm technique, the boxing technique, or the hand knife technique. In short, all kinds of martial arts are easy to come by. As long as it is suitable, there is no need to use it. In a sense, Yi Shiwen has broken away from being rigid. The realm of martial arts skills. Boom! Yi Shiwen's last palm ended with the last flat ground wind and thunder of the thunder-bending hand, smashing an Asura to death, and the energy in his body was instantly transformed through the Tianyuan mirror and absorbed by Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen only felt that if this continued, he would be unwilling to break through to the 5th level of the innate, and at that time, Yi Shiwen's combat power would probably have a huge breakthrough again, directly reaching the 7th level of the innate. Then Yi Shiwen can directly break through to the 6th level innate realm at the fastest speed. Although it is said that the 5th level innate and the 6th level innate are definitely the biggest thresholds in the innate realm, but for the masters of the 5th level innate, the most important thing is how to transform innate true chi into true essence. Yi Shiwen has already done this step ahead of time, so he can easily break through to the innate 6th layer. Perhaps this will be the easiest time for Yi Shiwen to break through. At that time, Yi Shiwen's combat power can even compete with the masters of the innate 9 layers. At that time, Yi Shiwen can say that he has a certain self-protection power. Unless Luo Yifan personally goes out, Yi Shiwen has the power of self-protection, and can even resist. Kill. Haha, Yi Shiwen, if you keep going like this, you will be able to break through soon, and it won't even take too long. Yi Mo said with a laugh, but if you want to break through, these Asuras are still far behind. You should find those powerful demons of the 7th, 8th, and 9th levels of innate, kill them, and seize their essence. Your cultivation will soon advance by leaps and bounds. Is this really okay? Yi Shiwen asked. Don't worry, Tianyuan mirror can completely suppress them. Yi Mo said, as long as there is the help of Tianyuan mirror, those demons are nothing more than giving and receiving, which can save you countless years of hard work. What is the truth? Go to the demon world. As long as you go to the demon world, you will soon be able to break through to you. In a realm that was unimaginable before, it is very possible to become the next demon lord. What am I going to do in the demon world, to be a demon? Yi Shiwen shook his head and said, maybe I will go to the demon world in the future, but definitely not now, and definitely not to be a demon. Yi Shiwen had no interest at all about what Yi Mo said about what kind of demons to do, but Yi Shiwen was very interested in his proposal to kill the 7th level, 8th level and 9th level demons. There is a world of difference between the innate 6th level demons and the congenital 7th level, 8th level, and 9th level demons, and the difference between each level of the innate realm is very large. If you can kill higher level demons, the speed of cultivation will naturally skyrocket. Let's go, let's find a more advanced demon. Yi Shiwen said. No problem, just listen to me. Tianyuan mirror can sense the existence of all demons, including their strength, so you don't have to worry about finding them. Yi Mo was naturally full of confidence, said. Saying that, Yi Shiwen had already stepped out of the heavenly immortal step and headed towards the depths of the demon realm. Chapter 144 The Legend of the Underworld. There are many dangers in the demon realm, and there are countless dangers, but for Yi Shiwen, it is nothing at all. With the power of the Tianyuan mirror, unless there is a true level demon, otherwise, it will be destroyed by the Tianyuan mirror. Give restraint to death, and then be beheaded by Yi Shiwen. With a large number of innate 7th level and 8th level demons beheaded by Yi Shiwen, the essence absorbed by Yi Shiwen has reached the peak saturation point. Bang! Yi Shiwen smashed an Asura who was born at the 7th level with one punch. Before he died, the Asura was still unbelievable and unwilling. Human beings are beheaded, it is simply a great shame. Suddenly, a terrifying punch fell from the sky, hitting Yi Shiwen directly. This punch is domineering and strange, like a flying fairy from the sky, and it kills instantly. Yi Shiwen couldn't dodge at all, so he took the punch. Waterfall. Yi Shiwen spurted out a mouthful of blood. Yi Shiwen looked over, and saw an Asura figure gradually taking shape in the air. It was a young Asura, like other male Asuras. Long he was extremely ugly, but he had the extravagance that other Asuras did not have. Yi Shiwen was half broken at a glance, and he was an aristocrat in the Asuras. This young Asura had an aura that made Yi Shiwen even more jealous, something Yi Shiwen had never felt before. Even a few days ago, Yi Shiwen's hard-fought Asura couldn't compare. This young Asura's cultivation base is not very high, but his strength is extremely strong. It's fallen, the Asura here is really fallen. Yi Mo appeared on Yi Shiwen's shoulder. Although Asura and the Great Asura are of the same race, intermarriage has never been allowed between the two sides. Asura is only a civilian in the devil world, but the Great Asura is a noble in the devil world. Asura's clan rules are absolutely not. There has not been a single case in thousands of years of allowing Asura to marry the Great Asura who is a noble class, and it actually appeared here. You mean, he is a mixed race? Yi Shiwen said. Yes, the blood on his body is very strong, it should be the second generation of mixed blood. Yi Mo said. It is impossible for ordinary Asuras to be extravagant, they are the slaves of the Great Asuras for life. Sakari has no love for slaves, and if it is a big Asura, you should be a master of true Taoism by birth, so it can only be a mixture of the two races. Fortunately, it is not a real big Asura, otherwise, you will die. It's miserable. Human, I have been paying attention to you for a long time, said the young Asura. He couldn't see Yi Bao's existence. If Yi Mo wanted to, then only Yi Shiwen could see his existence, and no one else could. The Asura grabbed from the void and grabbed a black stick, which is the legendary Asura stick. Generally, Asuras use their own flesh to set sail and Sakari's loveless body as a weapon, but there are also some Asuras. They don't like sailing with meat, Sakari no love, and other people's shopping. The evil they use is the Shura stick, a powerful weapon. You daring human, dare to kill my son's subjects on this son's territory, today you must wash away your sins with your blood. The young Asura muttered, My text says that you are a strong man. As long as you commit suicide, I will keep your corpse and not be eaten by those lowly demons. It's up to you, I want to kill myself. Yi Shiwen showed a smile on his face, it's just a mixed race. It is different from the previous life where the mixed blood was very popular on the earth. In the real martial arts world, mixed blood often means tragedy. Grandma doesn't love grandma, and pure blood means more powerful and pure. Human, you are courting death, I want to set sail for your god, and let it burn without love, until the day is burnt until you disappear. The young Asura finally couldn't keep his face. He calmed down and was poked by Yi Shiwen to the sore spot. His face suddenly turned ugly, and he shouted wildly. Mixed blood is an eternal pain in his heart. Although he has obtained a powerful power far beyond that of ordinary Asuras, it is also far worse than the big Asuras, and it is not even comparable to the big Asuras who just gave birth to babies. Inferiority is deeply rooted in the blood, even more than self-esteem. This young Asura obviously hated Yi Shiwen too much, otherwise he wouldn't say such a thing. Compared with killing the other party, he would torture people countless times. If it wasn't for hatred, he wouldn't say that. You human beings are really abominable. You dare to take our asuras as the object of the trial. Do you think our asuras are soft persimmons? My father has long ago ordered to kill all of you hateful humans. Kill it cleanly, and even join forces with other demon races to wipe out all of you human beings, out of this small world, and rule your world. The asura sneered again and again, I will kill you first, take credit, and command the army of one party in the future. Although the ancestors of the One Yuan sect captured the demon realm, they did not destroy the demons, but used them to train their disciples, and these demons always wanted to counterattack the real martial world, using the One Yuan sect as a springboard to rule the entire human world. Just relying on you waste materials, you are really brave. Yi Shiwen said with a sneer. You were just caught by our Yi Yuan sect patriarch and given to our Yi Yuan sect's disciples to experience. You are just a pig gong, and you still want to counterattack the world. You are really courting death. Looking for death. The asura was instantly furious. Yi Shiwen's attitude immediately angered him, completely angered him. The long stick in his hand danced a kind of shocking power. The whole space was moving, a burst of ghosts and wolf howls. This asura stick is also known as the Morning Stick. It is rumored that under the 9 layers of the netherworld, there is a Fengdu underworld. After people die, they will enter the underworld to be judged. According to the legend, the Morning Stick is used by the ninja in the underworld. The so-called Shura, the stick itself, is an imitation of the Morning Stick, and its origin is very ancient. When Yi Mo introduced the Ashura tribe to Yi Shiwen, he also introduced it. It was a terrifying legend. The legends of the underworld are the same in all worlds. Maybe some rumors are different, but they are basically the same. Yi Shiwen in the previous life also heard it when he was on Earth. Among them, there is actually a legend of the underworld. But legends are always legends. No one knows whether the underworld really exists. Even a character as powerful as an emperor cannot turn his life around. According to Yi Mo, there has always been a saying between heaven and earth that the emperor controls the world of the living, while Yama is in charge of the world of the dead. This seems to have been spread countless years ago. Even the master that Yi Mo followed before had never been able to confirm whether the legendary underworld really existed. He rummaged through countless ancient books, traveled through many worlds, but never found the existence of the underworld. It seems that all this they only exist in legends. When Yi Shiwen heard this, he was almost intimidated. Yi Mo's former owner, the legendary demon lord, was definitely a lunatic. He actually wanted to lead the demon army to conquer the underworld and bring the underworld under the control of the demon world. This is definitely a lunatic. He is confident in his own strength to the point of invincibility. He firmly believes that his strength is enough to conquer the heavens and the world. Most honorable person. And this Shura stick of the Shura clan is said to be many years ago, the ancestor of the Shura clan, the Asura demon lord once fought against a supreme master of the earth hemorrhoid. After the Morning Stick used by the opponent has been improved, it is more suitable for the Shura stick of the Shura family. This Asura stick is the only weapon of the Asura clan who advocates meat and sales, Sakari Wu, love and invincibility. According to Yi Mo's disdain, the Asura demon lord must have suffered a loss when he fought against that master. With his big Asura body they have suffered a lot, so they want to imitate it. Although it was only an imitation, but those things are not known how long ago, except for the old monsters like Yi Mo who followed extraordinary people, no one knew the secrets of it. Up to now, even the demons of the Asura clan still feel that it is the supreme martial art handed down from their ancestors. As soon as the Asura stick came out, the world suddenly changed, and there was a burst of wailing and wolf howling, which was very mournful. Generally, the timid people would be scared to death when they heard it. The Shura stick slammed out and rushed in front of Yi Shiwen in an instant. This stick would smash Yi Shiwen's brain into a crack, and the most terrifying thing was that Yi Shiwen actually felt that his flesh was sailing and Sakari had no love. Your own primordial spirit is gone, and there is an illusion that the primordial spirit will be sucked out. The Morning Stick itself is used by the messengers to capture the Hun. It manages the spirits of those who have died. No matter what emperor and general you were during your lifetime, you can't escape the shock of the Morning Stick. The Shura stick itself is an imitation Morning Stick, and it also has some the quality of the Morning Stick. Chapter 145 Breakthroughs one after another. At this moment, Yi Shiwen felt like he was about to be pulled out of his life. This feeling made Yi Shiwen dazed for a moment, and at this moment, the Shira stick almost stabbed in front of Yi Shiwen. Don't look at the round stick head. If it is directly inserted, it will definitely be the end of the brain burst. The strength of the 8th level peak of the innate was completely released, and the space was dang in an instant. Suddenly, the movement of the Tianyuan mirror in Yi Shiwen's body was instantly released, and the bloody movement was like the heavenly power of an emperor, which made the Asura have the urge to crawl to the ground. The majesty in his bones, a majesty that rules the heavens and the world, made him feel like a slave seeing his master, and this feeling made him extremely uncomfortable. He hesitated for a while. He is a noble Asura, one of the 8 royal families in the devil world. How could he feel so humiliated? And this feeling has penetrated into the bone marrow. What kind of feeling is that? Taking advantage of this time, Yi Shiwen came back to his senses, pulled out the long sword instantly, and slashed towards the Asura. Boom! The terrifying air waves swept out instantly. Yi Shiwen stepped back a few steps, and the Asura attacked with a cruel expression on his face. Stop! You lowly Asura bastard, do you want to take action against His Royal Highness, the greatest devil in the heavens and the world? At this time, Yi Mo suddenly appeared and shouted loudly, which immediately shook the god of Asura. Hun! That Asura suddenly appeared in front of a great figure that made them not even qualified to kneel at their feet. Taking advantage of the moment when the Asura stopped, Yi Shiwen regrouped and slashed out a terrifying sword light again. Layers of rays of light were blooming on the body of the Asura, but there was still a layer of blood on his body, making it impossible for him to exert his full strength. This made him feel extremely aggrieved. It was as if he had a strength close to the 9th level of the congenital, but he could only display the strength that was just below the 7th level of the congenital, but it was on par with this damned human being. This is a kind of spiritual shackles, a very terrifying spiritual coercion. He can only do it from some mythical figures in the legends of his own family, regardless of race. This is a very terrifying thing, because only when he reaches a certain level can he achieve things that he dare not even think about. So he now knows that the human being in front of him is very terrifying, but he has nothing to do with him. The Asura worked hard to block it, but the terrifying power burst out in his body in an instant. Waterfall. The Asura spurted out a mouthful of blood and stepped on it. Blast back all the way, dodging Yi Shiwen's attack. Dive into the abyss. Yi Shiwen followed closely behind, and shot a dragon that chased after him with one palm. With a long whistle, the whole air changed. Chased towards the Asura. Clap. The Asura stepped on the ground and stabilized his body, and the Asura stick, which was screaming and howling, was instantly knocked down. Boom. The entire space shook, and the violent energy shock instantly churned up layers of air waves. That Asura flew upside down in an instant and spewed out a mouthful of blood. The psychological thing was called suffocation. He was obviously stronger than this human being, and much stronger, but he was crushed to death by him. This feeling really made he was so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. I am the peak of the 8th level innate and can reach the 9th level Asura at any time. In the future, I want to become a great Asura. How can I not defeat a human being? I don't believe it. That Asura was very unwilling, but Yi Shiwen's offensive had continued, and he could hardly resist Yi Shiwen's attack this time. His body was suppressed by a terrifying pressure, and it was difficult to resist at all. Encountered a natural enemy. Met the master in life. This time it was no longer difficult to resist, and was split in half by Yi Shiwen with a knife, and the essence of his body was continuously transferred into Yi Shiwen's body. Yi Shiwen only felt that the originally strong barrier was finally difficult to loosen. Yi Shiwen sat cross-legged on the ground and began to prepare for a breakthrough. This breakthrough was very important to him. The essence of a peak innate 8th level expert is very large, enough to support Yi Shiwen's complete breakthrough. At this time, on top of Yi Shiwen's head, the Tianyuan mirror kept spinning around Yi Shiwen, and a bloody light curtain hung down, protecting Yi Shiwen in it to protect Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen only felt that the real essence in his body began to boil, and a terrifying force was boiling in it. Yi Shiwen's hair flew up under the support of this force, and his blood was surging. In just a few moments of kung fu, Yi Shiwen's breath broke through one after another. Driven by his true essence, Yi Shiwen's cultivation realm finally went from the 4th level of the innate to the 5th level of the innate. However, the essence in Yi Shiwen's body shows no signs of being exhausted. The essence of the 8th level innate master is so strong, and he continues to push Yi Shiwen's cultivation to the peak of the 5th level innate. Under the nourishment of this huge essence, Yi Shiwen quickly and smoothly reached the peak of the 5th level of the innate. After breaking through to the peak of the 5th level of the innate, Yi Shiwen did not stop, but took out the Life and Life He pill and swallowed it. Life and Health and He Dan turned into a clear stream, which flowed into Yi Shiwen's limbs and bones, and the medicinal power surged out, making Yi Shiwen's just consolidated realm suddenly showing signs of breakthrough. The biggest obstacle between the innate 5th layer and the innate 6th layer is the stage of transforming true essence. At this stage, Yi Shiwen has already been transformed. He is covered in true essence, so this stage is fundamental to him. There are no obstacles. Driven by the medicinal power of Shengshengahedin, Yi Shiwen made another breakthrough, directly breaking through to the 6th level of the innate. Boom! Yi Shiwen burst out with a terrifying aura, and suddenly opened his eyes. Happy birthday to book friends. Chapter 146 Innate 7th Peak. The cultivation base on Yi Shiwen's body was soaring at a terrifying speed, rushing all the way to the 6th level of Shantian, but Yi Shiwen did not stop, but took out a bright red Dikui fruit from the space ring, which is blood yuan fruit. This thing is a pretty good thing, but it's best to wait for you to take it when you break through to the 9th level of the innate. It can save you a lot of hard work. Yi Mo. It's a pity to take it now. At that time, of course, the effect will be the greatest, but I can't wait for that time. Now Luo Yifan and his people must be looking for my whereabouts everywhere. Although the demon realm is big, it will be discovered sooner or later. Yi Shiwen said, before this, I must raise my strength to a level where I can protect myself. Innate 5th layer, and then broke through to innate 6th layer. Yi Shiwen's combat power is also surging all the way. Originally can sweep innate 6th layer, compete with some of innate 7th layer masters, but now, Yi Shiwen's combat power is definitely comparable to innate 9th layer masters. But this is not enough. This time, in addition to the seed disciples among the inner disciples, there are also seed disciples among the core disciples. Almost all the seed disciples among these core disciples are in the state of congenital great perfection. The worst is the peak of the 9th level of the congenital. Maybe not all of these people are hostile to Yi Shiwen, but as long as there are 1 or 2, it is a fatal threat to Yi Shiwen. His current cultivation base is capable of retreating in the face of ordinary 9-level congenital masters, but these are the peaks of congenital 9-level or even congenital great perfection. Yi Shiwen must raise a new realm again. After taking the blood primordial fruit, Yi Shiwen's combat power will be raised to a whole new realm, which is enough to sweep the disciples of the 9 great perfection realms. At that time, unless Luo Yifan did it himself, otherwise, no one would be his opponent. At that time, Yi Shiwen only needed to avoid Luo Yifan, and he didn't care about the others, he only avoided one man. It's easy. Yes, Yi Mo nodded. He was very satisfied with Yi Shiwen's decisive decision. Many people are struggling between such long-term interests and immediate interests. If you can't live, then what to talk about in the future? The reason is very simple, but there are not many people who can break the wrist of a strong man. HMPH, this time I want to make Luo Yifan feel bad. Yi Shiwen smiled strangely. This time, there is no one who can threaten Yi Shiwen among the inner disciples. Luo Yifan should also know this. The matter of manpower should be done from among the core disciples, but those among the core disciples are all elites. Almost all of them are in the congenital great perfection realm, and some of the 9th level peaks of the congenital are also masters who can compete with the congenital great perfection. A master at this level is likely to set foot on the true way at almost any time. All of them are ambitious and want to set foot on the true way by themselves, create a faction of their own, become famous in history, and even compete for the headship. Unless they have joined other people's factions a long time ago, it is very difficult to reach this level. The less will join other people's factions, and even they can create a not weak faction in the One Yuan sect. Why should they be the younger brothers of others? Therefore, Luo Yifan should have put a lot of effort into cultivating subordinates at the seed disciple level of core disciples, because unlike the inner sect disciples, the people on the seed disciple rankings of inner sect disciples are promoted in large numbers almost every year. Innate 6th level, thus leaving this list, but the list of core disciples is indeed difficult to change for several years. For many people, it is very simple to advance to innate 5th level, but for anyone, it is very easy to advance to the true way. It is not a simple matter. Among the more than 100 core disciples and seed disciples, there may be no one who can ascend. Since no one has ascended, naturally no one will leave. Therefore, this list will not be on the list for 3 to 5 years. Changes are very normal, even some people have not changed in more than 10 years. Generally, the reason for leaving is that they are older, more than 150 years old, and their chi and blood have begun to decline. Some people were kicked down by the people behind, and some people left voluntarily to become deacons in the main sect or the elders and sect masters of the branch sects. It is very difficult, and sometimes it is not unreasonable that youth is the capital. If Luo Yifan's people came, killing a few of him and completely cutting off Luo Yifan's influence among the core disciples would be enough to make him feel distressed. Yi Shiwen immediately took the blood essence fruit. After taking the red blood essence fruit, the medicinal power quickly turned into a heat flow, and it started to travel in his body. Compared with He Dan, the medicinal power of this blood essence fruit is even more domineering. In an instant, Yi Shiwen felt that the whole air became hot, and his face began to turn red. A bloody man. Without any hesitation, Yi Shiwen quickly mobilized the real energy in his body, and frantically began to digest the medicinal power in his body, to absorb part of the medicinal power into the body. There were bursts of crackling sounds from Yi Shiwen's body, like firecrackers that were set off during the New Year's Day. It was his body that was absorbing the medicinal power, and it was his body that was undergoing a transformation. The spirit stone in the space ring began to burn wildly, and was injected into the mysterious space in Yi Shiwen's mind. The second layer of the already completed hegemony body art began to run wildly, and the third layer, which had already had a vision, finally began to show a full face. Only Yi Shiwen can do the crazy burning of 1,000 middle-grade spirit stones, and only he is the craziest person who burns these spirit stones. With the burning of a large number of spirit stones, Yi Shiwen finally deduced the third layer of the body's secret art. With the help of countless spirit stones and the power of the blood essence in his body, the Overlord body art was also making a crazy breakthrough. The momentum on Yi Shiwen's body is breaking through almost every moment. Innate 6th layer, innate 6th layer middle, innate 6th layer late, innate 6th layer peak, innate 7th layer, innate 7th layer middle, innate 7th layer late, innate 7th layer peak. Yi Shiwen's cultivation level rushed all the way to the peak of the 7th level of the innate, and then it stopped. Yi Shiwen cultivated the third level of hegemonic body art, to the level of entering a room. Along with dragon swinging tail, he was also cultivated to the level of entering a room. The power was more than doubled and twice as strong as before. Because Yi Shiwen has the Tianyuan mirror to cover all the moving breath. Otherwise such a big movement, I am afraid that it will attract the attention of many demons, but Yi Shiwen is not afraid now. The Tianyuan mirror is basically these demons the nemesis of the clan. Even if he encounters a demon at the true level, as long as he is not a true master who has reached the extreme like Shi Feihan, with Tianyuan mirror's restraint on the demons, even if it is a demon at the true level, Yi Shiwen is also confident in his body. Retreat, if it is a demon below the true way, then Yi Shiwen will not be afraid. Yi Shiwen, who has broken through to the peak of the 7th level of the innate, is so powerful that even the masters of the 9th level of the innate are not his opponents. Let's go. Yi Shiwen got up and said. Yi Shiwen had been in this place for a day and a night, and the time for this breakthrough was not too long. Yi Shiwen stepped out of the heavenly immortal step and went deeper into the demon realm, as if strolling in the courtyard, but in a short period of time, he disappeared from sight. In the distance, a team of big demons with thousands of powerful big demons, led by a big demon commander, shouted towards the central disciples of the One Yuan sect. Sky. The great demon army, on a mountain peak. Yi Shiwen's eyes were like torches, and he saw the origin of this army. An army composed of all the great demons above the 5th level of Lu Shantian was extremely terrifying. In this kind of army, apart from the blood guards of the royal family of Deu, there is probably no army that can plunder it. This is the first time Yi Shiwen has seen a regular army of demons. This demonic realm is really not the same as the previous illusory demonic realm. Those ghosts in the illusory demon realm were all captured by the ancestors in the door, and they are long gone. Inheritance cannot be compared with the demons in the demon realm. This kind of regular army is the most terrifying for idle warriors. If there is an army, it means that there is a kingdom of demons in the depths of the demon realm. Maybe there is more than one. Then the young Ashura said before that it is true that the place is his territory, then there should be one. The kingdom of the Shura tribe is right. This big demon army was different from the extremely ruthless big demons that Yi Shiwen saw on weekdays. Although they were equally ruthless, they were more disciplined, advancing and retreating in moderation. It was clearly an army of iron and blood that had been training for a long time. Yi Shiwen took another look, and the slender figure, Zifeng, a disciple of the One Yuan sect who was besieged in it, was particularly familiar. It was Hua Mengen. Chapter 147 Rescue. It was indeed Hua Mengen. Yi Shiwen squinted his eyes. He didn't expect to meet Hua Mengen here. What he didn't expect was that Hua Mengen would actually be one of the core seed disciples. No wonder he was so big. The face of Qianyu Pavilion can calm down the problems that Qianyu Pavilion encountered before. During this period of time, Yi Shiwen did not have time to thank him for one thing after another. He didn't expect to meet him here. Beside Hua Mengen, Yi Shiwen saw several acquaintances, Jing Yanan and Hu Yuanhang. They were not unexpectedly members of the seed disciples. Besides the two of them, there was another one who was similar in age to Hua Mengen. Dressed in a long skirt, swaying, and while the sword was dancing, there was always a big devil killed. Another burly man, with a big sword dancing in the wind. Those demons couldn't get close at all. At this time, although they were caught in the siege of this big demon army, the situation was not too dangerous. After all, these 5 people were the elites among the inner disciples, and each of them had outstanding strength, far exceeding their peers. Dancers of the level, not to mention the big demons, although these big demons are all brutal and very high, but almost all of them exist as cannon fodder soldiers, and the martial arts they practice are very limited. Many of them are the ones taught by the demon army are relatively crude, and of course they cannot be compared with Hua Mengen and the others. The martial arts learned by both sides are already the difference between heaven and earth. This is the difference between the elite and the public. However, if the strength of both sides is increased by 10 times, then Hua Mengen and others will be wiped out very quickly. The more troops, the greater the power, but these elites are not in this way. The elite's combat power will not increase geometrically. However, with the addition of the great demon commander, Hua Mengen and the others soon fell into a disadvantage. This great demon is obviously stronger than the congenital great perfection. It should be the so-called half-step true way, only half a step away. The masters who can leap to the true level, and Hua Mengen's 5, are obviously only in the congenital great perfection realm, which is obviously much worse than that of the great demon commander, and only fell into the disadvantage all of a sudden. Yi Shiwen's blood boiled immediately when he saw it. The half-step true demon commander was his opponent, because although his current realm was at the peak of the 7th level of the congenital, his combat power was actually at the half-step true level. Beyond the ordinary congenital great perfection realm, this big devil happens to be the best opponent. This big devil happens to be my best opponent. Yi Shiwen squinted his eyes and said, "Wait a minute, you can control Tianyuanjing. Don't let Tianyuanjing shoot. I want to test my real level. If the Tianyuan mirror remains suppressed, the great demon commander will soon die in Yi Shiwen's hands, and that is not Yi Shiwen's purpose." "No problem," Yi Mo said, although he often helped Yi Shiwen suppress the performance of those demons. "But that's just a means to help Yi Shiwen grow up quickly, but that's not the end, it's a difference in itself. Everyone, stand up, I have issued a distress signal, someone should come to the rescue soon." Jing Yanan said loudly, boosting the morale of the 5 people, but the 5 people were silently resisting. They were all elites, understand. In particular, Hua Mengen, who joined forces to resist the great demon's leader, and the burly man who used the big sword, felt great pressure. The terrifying powerhouse who was half a step into the true way, to a certain extent, already possessed some true ways. Master of Terror. It is not easy for the two to join forces to resist. If it is not for the text of, this big devil is obviously more familiar with the technique of battle formation. At this time, I am afraid that the two will be even more embarrassed. Raising the ground, a long whistling sound came from a distance, from far to near, and the speed was extremely fast. In a blink of an eye, it was already nearby. You can judge from the whistle, the speed was extremely fast, it was like electric light, and in the blink of an eye it's near. It was a flash of light, and it rushed into the army of the great demon in an instant. The great demon who had advanced and retreated was not the opponent of this light at all. If you touch it, you will die, if you rub it, you will be injured. Who? The big demon commander roared, and immediately put down Hua Mengan and the two of them. In his heart, Hua Mengan did not pose any threat at all, and these 5 people did not pose any threat. Under the siege of his army, these damn lowly humans will die. The great demon commander of the light kendo rushed over, and immediately rushed forward instead of retreating, rushing towards the great demon. Boom! A huge explosion sounded, and a small mushroom cloud was directly knocked out from the middle. This was a battle between half-step true masters. Although they only possessed the power of a part of true masters, this kind of fight, the battle that exploded the atom, the general peak of the 9th level of the congenital, and the martial artist in the great circle realm absolutely cannot do it. The light dissipated, and a figure appeared. When Hua Mengan saw the figure, a look of surprise appeared on his face, because that person was none other than Yi Shiwen. She did not expect that Yi Shiwen has become so powerful in such a short period of time. I remember that when I saw Yi Shiwen for the first time, Yi Shiwen was only an acquired martial artist. At that time, Hua Mengan only felt Yi Shiwen's feelings. A life-saving grace, but that's all. An acquired martial artist, even if he has the hope of stepping into the innate realm in the future, it is very likely that they will not have any intersection in their lifetime. But all this has changed in just 1 year. Yi Shiwen's strength has developed by leaps and bounds in this year. When she saw Yi Shiwen again, Yi Shiwen was already a master of the innate realm. Now, he is still the leader among the younger generation of the major branches, and even later became the first among the younger generation. The second time I heard the news of Yi Shiwen, it was the most difficult time for Qianyu Pavilion. At that time, through her influence, she won a chance for Qianyu Pavilion. At that time, she didn't hold out much hope. She just helped Yi Shiwen as much as she could, but she didn't make much fanfare, otherwise Yi Shiwen would obviously become a lot of people. A thorn in the eye. But what I didn't expect was that Yi Shiwen won, and Qianyu Pavilion was successfully established. But the news of him was that Yi Shiwen was already the chief among the seed disciples of the inner sect, and it was recognized that no one had any doubts. Although it is only the chief of the inner disciples, the One Yuan sect is such a large sect, and its chief, even if it is only the chief of the inner disciples, can obtain very few people, which is enough to see Yi Shiwen's talent and strength. This should be the 3rd time she has seen Yi Shiwen, but the once skinny teenager has grown into a young man before she knew it. From the teenager who could only save her by picking up leaks to the present this martial arts master who rushed straight into the demon army and did not lose the slightest against the demon commander. Such a rapid change is unbelievable. Hu Yuanhang was even more astonished than Hua Mengan. Of course he remembered Yi Shiwen, and he remembered it very much, but in his memory, Yi Shiwen was nothing at all. He could only be regarded as a small person, a nasty bug. According to him, as long as he is willing, he can be crushed to death. But now, he has grown to such a point that the killing intent in his heart suddenly boils. And Jing Yan'an looked at Yi Shiwen's figure with a look of astonishment. It only took so long. The young man who needed him to come out to say hello has become such a formidable expert. He confirmed that he was not mistaken. That green shirt, that long knife, that kind of insipid pride. What exactly did he go through that made his cultivation reach such a shocking level? While everyone was surprised by Yi Shiwen's sudden attack, Yi Shiwen himself didn't care too much, and devoted himself to the battle with the great demon. You despicable human beings, you all deserve to die, you dare to treat our great demons as the target of hunting, courting death. The great demon commander shouted angrily, and the long spear of a huge spear in his hand instantly burst out with endless demonic energy, really become a space, dang heaven and earth. A long spear transformed into thousands of spear gas, covering the sky and the sun, sweeping invincible, and swept straight towards Yi Shiwen. The long knife in Yi Shiwen's hand flickered without a doubt, and a dazzling sword light was instantly cut out. Yi Shiwen's sword technique cut out the artistic conception, and a round of bright moon pictures pressed down on the great demon commander. In an instant, a dazzling light, the blade air and the gun air collided with each other, turned into a huge wave of energy, swept out, and some demon soldiers around were swept away in this energy frenzy. Underneath, life and life are turned into fly ash. At that moment, the great demon commander felt a palpitating feeling from Yi Shiwen's body. Although it was very light, the feeling was very uncomfortable, as if he was facing a king. But at this time, he had no time to think about why this was, and a loud shout came out, "Damn human, go to hell." Magic breaks how Sun. Chapter 148, Killing the Demon Commander. Magic breaks how Sun. The long spear in his hand danced in the sky where a terrifying spear gas passed, and the air was completely split. Although there was only this one, it seemed to be overwhelming. This gun gas was extremely terrifying, with a sharp air-breaking sound, and in the sky, as if other sounds had all disappeared, only this terrifying gun gas was left. Full moon slash. Yi Shiwen sneered, his body was like lightning, and his arm was cut out of the sword in an instant, and it turned into a picture of a full moon in an instant, like Mount Tai, and instantly pressed down. That terrifying gun gas instantly penetrated the layers of space and pierced into the picture scroll of the full moon. The full moon suddenly radiated endless moonlight, and the gun gas that rushed in was strangled by the moonlight in an instant, to the inside. That's not moonlight, it's Yi Shiwen's terrifying sword chi. Yi Shiwen has gone a step further and integrated sword chi into his artistic conception. For opponents, it is simply crushing. Compared with the simple artistic conception before, the power is even more powerful. Yi Shiwen didn't stop. After strangling that sword chi, the sword chi of the long knife was cut out again, as if to tear apart the sky in this demonic realm, and instantly slashed towards the great demon commander. It will cut him in half in an instant. Humble human being, the big demon commander shouted, and the long spear in his hand instantly outlined a round of demonic sun in the void, exuding a dark and terrifying light, and greeted Yi Shiwen's saber aura. Boom! Layers of air waves swept out, and the long spear and Yi Shiwen's long knife collided fiercely. Bang! 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 Both of them felt a terrifying giant force from their weapons, and they both stepped back several steps and stepped on the ground with deep footprints. Beside Yi Shiwen, a group of big demons saw that Yi Shiwen was repelled and thought they could take advantage of it, and immediately rushed towards Yi Shiwen with strange screams, trying to tear Yi Shiwen into pieces. Yi Shiwen swung the long knife and a huge sword light swept out, and the dozen or so demons who rushed up were instantly chopped in half and annihilated into pieces of meat. Damn human beings! The great demon leader saw that Yi Shiwen had killed more than a dozen of his subordinates in an instant, and immediately roared again and again. This was a life and death duel. The duel between the two sides has affected the situation on both sides, and even decided the life and death of the demon army and the Unity Sect team. One of them is the great commander of the demon race, and they are all straight and true to Tao, reaching half-step true Tao. The other one is a series of adventures, and the combat power is comparable to half-step true path. The collision between the two sides is destined to be earth-shattering. The great demon commander held a long spear, dancing violently, and the wind of the spear roared out with a shrill scream like a ghost. Those were the wailings of those who died in his hands in the past. The terrifying mourning, the resentment before death was attached to the spear, which not only did not make his spear less powerful, on the contrary, because of the mourning and cursing of the dead, it made his spear even more powerful, strong. The gunfire roared in an instant, and the whole world seemed to suddenly change into a sound of mourning, and it was spread out, as if it had fallen into the horror of hell. His spear skills have reached the point of perfection, and he practiced the martial arts of the authentic magic way. Yi Shiwen was not afraid at all, and the knife beam slashed fiercely without any pause. In this battle, Yi Shiwen can be said to have really let go of, and fought heartily. Every collision will set off boundless air waves, which will cause bursts of mourning. That is, the grudge on the big demon commander's spear was annihilated by Yi Shiwen and quietly lost in this world. It is better to be tortured earlier disappear. Every time they fight, The fight between the two sides can make the demons next to them turn their backs, but Yi Shiwen doesn't care at all. Anyway, no matter how many deaths, it is a matter of the demons, and the chief of the demons is also red-eyed. Not up. Those demon races don't know where they are, so hurry up and stay away from these two killing stars. These two killing stars are really terrifying. The guns collided again. Boom. The true essence in Yi Shiwen's body was running wildly, and the domination technique was running wildly, covering Yi Shiwen's skin with a layer of golden light. From a distance, Yi Shiwen was like a golden god of war. Zhen Yuan formed a protective shield around him, blocking all the impact from the outside. A dragon was formed directly, entrenched on Yi Shiwen's body, exuding a strong dragon energy, and it was even difficult for that great demon commander to break through the dragon's protection on Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen has already cultivated the Qianlong Chuyuan in the Panlong's palm to the extreme. Panlong's body protection is the worst nemesis for a demon like him. In the distance, although the surrounding demons were temporarily dispersed a little, Hua Mengan and the other 5 still formed a formation to protect themselves, watching from a distance that the battle between Yi Shiwen and the demon commander had reached a white-hot stage. 2 unimaginable masters are making crazy shots, and they can only be amazed. Only Hu Yuanheng looked at Yi Shiwen with resentment in his eyes. It was a kind of jealousy, extreme jealousy, which made him unable to deal with it calmly at all. In a place where no one saw it, a magic formula was pinched in the sleeve, and a message talisman flew out of the sky in an instant. Humph, Yi Shiwen, I see how you died. Damn human, today is your day of death. The big demon commander said coldly, his voice cold as if he had come out of the ice cellar. Originally, he was a high-ranking demon commander, but he really hated human beings. Maybe the demons living at the bottom didn't know it, but those of them who had a bit of status knew that they were just a group of pig gongs, a group of people raised by strong human beings. The pig gong that got up was used to hone his disciples. This is a kind of extreme pain. More than pain, this is the biggest shame of the proud demon race, but any demon race that is stronger than a certain level will be beheaded by human powerhouses, and they will come in to check every once in a while. He is also afraid that such a fate will befall him. If he is strong, he will be beheaded by the strong human beings. If he is not strong, he will be beheaded by their disciples. This is the fate of generations. No, this is definitely not a destiny. He will not become a stepping stone for those human disciples. He is invincible. He must break free from this cage in the future, kill all human beings, and turn the real martial world into one of their demon world stocking farm. Human beings are damned, damned, damned. This big demon commander had a terrifying demonic energy all over his body. This was a demonic energy with a dead energy. These demonic energy condensed into a vaguely indistinct phantom in the air. The face of the big demon leader turned pale, and this blow also gathered a lot of his energy. Hearing a shrill scream, that phantom instantly condensed a long spear with boundless death energy. The death energy rustled, corroded the air, flew out instantly, and charged straight towards Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen only felt that the long spear had a terrifying air force, and it was firmly locked on him, and a terrifying pressure was instantly pressed down with the long spear. Yi Shiwen's domination technique started to run wildly. He knew that this should be the last resort of this big demon. As long as he could block this move, this big demon's leader had only one way to die. Yi Shiwen did not resist. He flew under his feet, and the celestial steps walked out in an instant. The figure drew a phantom and disappeared in an instant. At this time, Yi Shiwen found out that this long spear was actually following him. Yi Shiwen was unavoidable. He gritted his teeth suddenly, and snorted coldly, Qianlong out of the abyss. The endless dragon energy on Yi Shiwen instantly surrounded him, and Yi Shiwen disappeared into the endless dragon energy. Grab it with a terrifying, deadly spear. Boom! There was a terrifying explosion, and the long spear was firmly grasped by the long dragon of Yi Shiwen's body. The dragon energy and the death energy were violently dissolving each other, sending out a sizzling sound. The sound is terrifying. Yi Shiwen's long dragon grabbed with all his might. It was a dragon's palm, and the deadly spear shattered in midair. Broken inch by inch. PFF'd. The great demon commander screamed, a mouthful of blood spurted out, his sturdy body swayed, and he almost fell over. Devil, die! A soft shout came from the sky, and a shocking sword chi descended from the sky, instantly splitting the big devil's jaw in half, and he didn't even have the ability to resist. After making that move just now, his physical strength was obviously exhausted, so he was split in half by Yi Shiwen. When the army of those great demons saw that the commander was killed, they immediately retreated in formation, showing excellent discipline, which was not the same as the rout of the rabble. Yi Shiwen, Hua Mengan and others did not intend to continue their pursuit. After all, the army did not collapse, but the leader was killed. Before Yi Shiwen could breathe a sigh of relief, a loud shout suddenly came from a distance. Where is Yi Shiwen? Chapter 149 Luo Family's Dog. Where is Yi Shiwen? A loud shout came from a distance, from far to near, but after a while, he was already on the battlefield, but there were 3 young people of 25 or 6 years old, one of whom was a graceful, Hua Moon-looking, radiant woman. The other person is of medium stature and has an ordinary appearance, but he has a sense of bearing and stability. The last person has a handsome face and a Chinese robe. The cultivation level of the 3 of them is extremely high, which should not be underestimated. Almost all of them are infinitely close to the realm of half-step true Taoism. Among them, the woman with a Hua Rongyu appearance has already stepped into the realm of half-step true Taoism. Even if it is not as good as Yi Shiwen, it is not far behind. Seeing these 3 people, Hua Mengan's face was a little strange, especially the woman in the middle. Hua Mengan's face flashed a trace of displeasure. Who is Yi Shiwen? It was the woman who spoke, and the woman said coldly. Senior Sister Luo, he is Yi Shiwen. Hu Yuanhang suddenly stood up and said in the crowd. It immediately caused dissatisfaction with Jing Yanan, Hua Mengan, and others. Yi Shiwen rescued them just now. At this time, Hu Yuanhang betrayed Yi Shiwen. No matter how you look at it, they are not authentic. This is really inappropriate. Several people couldn't help but stay away from some Hu Yuanhang, and secretly made up their minds. This Hu Yuanhang is not worthy of deep friendship, and he sold himself without knowing when. Hu Yuanhang didn't know anything about other people's little actions. He only had jealousy and hatred for Yi Shiwen in his heart. Originally, he just thought Yi Shiwen was a bug, but now the character who was treated like a bug has become more than himself. It's amazing, this strong contrast makes him extremely uncomfortable. You are Yi Shiwen. Senior Sister Luo glanced at Yi Shiwen coldly and said lightly. I am. Who are you? Yi Shiwen looked at the Senior Sister Luo and said, at first glance, he was a bad person. Yi Shiwen looked at that Senior Sister Luo coldly. Yi Shiwen, then you really don't know Mount Tai. Hu Yuanhang said triumphantly. Shut up. What are you? You dare to teach me a lesson? Yi Shiwen yelled, and the sound swept out like a wave. Hu Yuanhang's face suddenly turned blue and purple like a pig's liver, which was suffocated in one breath. Looking for death, Hu Yuanhang was in a hurry for a while, completely forgetting the shock of Yi Shiwen's performance before. A terrifying burst of energy was thrown out with one punch, and it slammed towards Yi Shiwen fiercely. At this time, Yi Shiwen also moved, his body swayed, and deep in his big hand, the punch was caught in his hand, and it was crushed. The next moment, Yi Shiwen had already swayed in front of Hu Yuanhang. A big hand in the depths instantly defeated the true essence of Hu Yuanhang's body protection. He grabbed his neck and Yi Shiwen's palm was as firm as an iron hoop. Hooping Hu Yuanhang's neck like an eagle catching a chicken. It was only then that everyone realized that all of this was a miracle that happened in an instant. Hu Yuanhang couldn't resist even a single move, so he was caught by Yi Shiwen. Hu Yuanhang's neck was firmly grasped by Yi Shiwen, and his whole body was held in place by Yi Shiwen's true essence. He didn't even have the strength to move. His face turned red, half of it was out of breath, and half of it was breathless. In his heart, Yi Shiwen was just a bug-like character, but after so long, he was caught by Yi Shiwen like garbage. He hates it. He can't wait to kill Yi Shiwen earlier. If he had shot earlier, this wouldn't be the case. I haven't looked for you yet you dare to jump out. You are nothing but a piece of trash. You dare to plot against me again and again, and you will pay the price today. Yi Shiwen said with a sneer. Yi Shiwen said, stop. Suddenly, there was a shout from the side, and the woman surnamed Luo shot instantly. A huge breath instantly locked Yi Shiwen, and the martial arts movement instantly became intense. Yi Shiwen instantly pulled Hu Yuanhang's body over and blocked him. Boom! A terrifying energy slammed into Hu Yuanhang's body. Hu Yuanhang screamed, and all the bones in his body were broken by red. Yi Shiwen quickly concealed and stretched out his palm and slapped it on Hu Yuanhang's dantian. Directly abolishing Hu Yuanhang's martial arts, Hu Yuanhang fainted directly. How dare you? The beautiful woman glared at Yi Shiwen. You saw it too. I didn't do this. Yi Shiwen threw the fainted Hu Yuanhang aside. A beautiful woman glared angrily. Luo Fangyi, I killed that brother of yours. If you have the ability, come at me. Hua Mengan said at this time. Shut up, you bastard, do you think I dare not kill you? If it wasn't for the master's face, you would have already died a few times. Luo Fangyi suddenly shouted. Luo Fangyi, I'm a close disciple of the head of the sect, and I'm more than a true biography. You are only a sect disciple in a district. Do you want to commit the following crimes? Hua Mengan said with a straight face. What are you? Luo Fangyi glared angrily. Yi Shiwen finally knew that this should be Luo Tian's sister, the one who Luo Tian poisoned Hua Mengan for her sake. The master has also ruled that it is not a pity for Luo Tian to die. If he didn't anger your Luo family, it would have been good. Hua Mengan said without giving in at all. To take anger on my Luo family, you rely on you. My uncle is an elder of the Yi Yuan sect, my third uncle is an elder, and my brother Yifan is a disciple of the true way. The person who will take over the head of the sect in the future depends on you who want to pursue us. Luo Fangyi roared. In Luo Fangyi's roar, a huge family was outlined, and Yi Shiwen finally understood that the Luo family's power in the Yuanzong might not be generally strong. Luo Yifan himself is a true disciple, and he will have the opportunity to compete for Palm in the future. The third uncle of the Luo family is an elder, and he is comparable to the true way, not to mention that there is a so-called uncle, who is too high an elder. In the One Yuan sect, the most authoritative is of course the head, and then the rest. The leader of Jufeng, second only to these 10 people is the Supreme Elder Group, which is very authoritative and can often question the decisions of the leader and the sect master, and even some leaders and sect leaders are the apprentices of certain Supreme Elders. It is conceivable that it is also another powerful group in the One Yuan sect. Even if it is the head, if there is no sufficient reason, it cannot do anything to them. All of these people are the people who call the wind and call the rain in the Yuan dynasty. They have such a prominent life experience. It is no wonder that Luo Tian was only an innate third-layer force at that time, and he actually dared to poison Hua Mengan. The feelings are fearless. Even if he misses, he will with the Luo family protecting him. Even as long as the elders of the Luo family came forward, the head couldn't help but give face. It's just that he didn't even count that there would be a Yi Shiwen who would kill him directly. He didn't even have the chance to reveal his family background. After knowing this, Yi Shiwen felt more and more pressure. Luo Yifan was not only a person, but also a family with several true masters. But since it's all right, there's nothing left to say. I'm going to leave him here today, and soon my brother Yifan will come over. Brother Yifan said, I want to kill him personally. Luo Fangyi said with a sneer. Luo Fangyi didn't take Hua Mengan in his eyes at all. Hua Mengan's cultivation base was worse than him, and he started more than 30 years later, but he was only a junior. Yi Shiwen, let's go. Now you are not that Luo Yifan's opponent, you have no chance of winning. Yi Mo's voice suddenly pressed. Yi Shiwen also knows that I am afraid that Luo Yifan is already on his way, so of course he cannot stay here. Although he has reached the strength of half a step of the true way, it is still not enough to face Luo Yifan. If he is given by Luo Yifan, if it was blocked, the consequences would be unimaginable. Without even thinking about it, Luo Yifan would definitely kill Yi Shiwen on the spot. Yi Shiwen also understood the style of their Luo family. Luo Tian was only a small congenital third-level warrior, but he actually dared to do something to the closed disciple of the head of the One Yuan sect. Luo Fangyi beat Hu Yunhang but didn't care at all. And Luo Yifan's blatant meddling in the seed disciple competition, it can be seen that the Luo family is arrogant and domineering. Junior brother Yi, where are you going? Yi Shiwen was about to leave when suddenly the mediocre-looking man came out and stopped Yi Shiwen. Who are you? Yi Shiwen asked. Xie Yi, the man said lightly. Get out of the way. Yi Shiwen said, since senior brother Luo is coming, why don't you wait for a while? Xie Yi said coldly. The tone was very polite, but in fact it was contempt. So, you are all the lackeys of the Luo family. Yi Shiwen squinted his eyes and said, killing intent flashing in his eyes. Luo Yifan has a few good dogs. Shut up, brother Luo's name is something you can call casually. Another handsome man said, if you hadn't completely angered senior brother Luo, we would be able to kill you here. Who are you? Yi Shiwen asked. Miu Yi. The handsome man replied, since senior brother Luo's decree has been issued, your life will be left to senior brother Luo to take. Okay. All together, I wonder if Luo Yifan will regret the death of 3 core disciples at once. Yi Shiwen sneered. Saying that, Yi Shiwen moved, and his figure was like a flash of light, and a terrifying aura suddenly burst out. Chapter 150. Yi Shiwen moved, his figure was like a flash of light, and a terrifying aura suddenly burst out. Since they can't go anymore, there is only one way, that is to kill these 3 people as soon as possible. Yi Shiwen's speed was so fast that everyone could not see clearly. The heavenly immortal step had already been pushed to the extreme. Only Luo Fangyi might be able to barely see Yi Shiwen's movements clearly. Yi Shiwen, since you want to die, let's kill you on behalf of senior brother Luo first. Miu Yi shouted loudly. He moved and wanted to stop Yi Shiwen, then Miu Yi stepped on it and rushed towards Yi Shiwen. When he came over, the terrifying force of the innate great perfection approaching the half-step true Tao was instantly revealed, and the huge aura instantly enveloped Yi Shiwen. Boom! Yi Shiwen slapped it with a palm, and the huge aura was instantly blasted by Yi Shiwen, and the endless real energy instantly became frantic. Before Miu Yi could react, Yi Shiwen had already rushed in front of him. Panlong palm. Diving out of the abyss. Under Miu Yi's terrified gaze, Yi Shiwen's palm turned into a dragon's claws, which were ruthlessly printed on Miu Yi's chest. Boom! Miu Yi's palm in the innate great perfection realm was slapped and flew out. All the bones of the Ying bone were broken, and a mouthful of blood spurted out, mixed with some internal organs. One palm. Just one palm. Just this one. The guy who was still extremely arrogant was instantly slapped by Yi Shiwen, and then he stepped on Yi Shiwen's foot, and his body suddenly flew into the air like an arrow from the string. Miu Yi, who was flying in the air, stomped him directly into the ground. Boom! Yi Shiwen didn't hold back at all. Half of Miu Yi's body was trampled by Yi Shiwen, and the internal organs were completely smashed by Yi Shiwen's true essence, so he couldn't survive at all. Impossible! Another Xie Yi yelled. Miu Yi's strength was similar to him. He thought that he could definitely stop Yi Shiwen, but he didn't expect that Miu Yi, whose strength was similar to him, was just one palm. He was killed by Yi Shiwen. How tyrannical is Yi Shiwen? It is unimaginable, super tyrannical. You dare to kill your fellow disciple, you are finished. Not only you will die, but your family will die. Xie Yi shouted. There was a glint in Yi Shiwen's eyes. The most unacceptable thing for him was that someone threatened his family. Dragons have reverse scales, and if they touch it, they will be angry. In this world, Yi Shiwen's only fetter is his family. Take this to threaten him is to seek death. Boom! Yi Shiwen spread out another terrifying aura. The whole person is like a tornado, rolling up waves of terror. Shaped like a cannonball, it was instantly ejected and shot straight at Xie Yi. Before Xie Yi could react, he saw a huge slap getting closer and closer, and instantly slapped towards his cheek. Bold! Luo Fangyi roared, but he reacted, and he pointed out, as if he was about to break the world. He instantly burst the air, made a sizzling sound in the air, and instantly pointed to Yi Shiwen. Go away! Yi Shiwen shouted loudly, and suddenly spread into layers of sound waves, and that finger was defeated by the layers of sound waves. Then Luo Fangyi immediately stepped back several steps. Even among the masters of the half-step true way, there are strong and weak ones. Yi Shiwen is obviously the strongest type, and this Luo Fangyi has just stepped into the half-step true way. Realm is nothing, it can only be regarded as a bottom. Luo Fangyi couldn't stop Yi Shiwen's footsteps at all, and Yi Shiwen's slap got closer and closer. Clap! A huge and loud slap came, and Xie Yi was instantly spun around by Yi Shiwen, and Yi Shiwen's mouth was half revoked by Yi Shiwen. Bang! Yi Shiwen kicked out and directly hit Xie Yi's dantian. Xie Yi's dantian was smashed by Yi Shiwen, and his whole body couldn't bear the gravity and flew out. Immediately afterwards, Yi Shiwen slashed with a knife in his hand and chased after him. PFF'd. Then Xie Yi was beheaded in half by Yi Shiwen in midair. Jing Yanan's eyes on Yi Shiwen sucked in a breath of cold air. Unexpectedly, Yi Shiwen was so ruthless and decisive, without any hesitation. After most people know about the family background of Luo family, they will hesitate, and even try to find a way to make peace. Even if they know that there is no room for making peace, but they dare to make such a direct move. After all, there are still very few. Yi Shiwen moved, his figure was like a flash of light, and a terrifying aura burst forth in an instant. Since he could no longer walk, there was only one way to kill the three as soon as possible. Yi Shiwen's speed was so fast that everyone could not see clearly. The heavenly immortal step had already been pushed to the extreme. Only Luo Fangyi might be able to barely see Yi Shiwen's movements clearly. Yi Shiwen, since you want to die, let's kill you on behalf of senior brother Luo first. Mu Yi shouted loudly. He moved and wanted to stop Yi Shiwen, then Mu Yi stepped on it and rushed towards Yi Shiwen. When he came over, the terrifying force of the innate great perfection approaching the half-step true Tao was instantly revealed, and the huge aura instantly enveloped Yi Shiwen. Boom! Yi Shiwen slapped it with a palm, and the huge aura was instantly blasted by Yi Shiwen, and the endless real energy instantly became frantic. Before Mu Yi could react, Yi Shiwen had already rushed in front of him. Panlong palm, diving out of the abyss. Under Mu Yi's terrified gaze, Yi Shiwen's palm turned into a dragon's claws, which were ruthlessly printed on Mu Yi's chest. Boom! Mu Yi's palm in the innate great perfection realm was slapped and flew out. All the bones of the Ying bone were broken, and a mouthful of blood spurted out, mixed with some internal organs. One palm. Just one palm. Just this one. The guy who was still extremely arrogant was instantly slapped by Yi Shiwen, and then he stepped on Yi Shiwen's foot, and his body suddenly flew into the air like an arrow from the string. Mu Yi, who was flying in the air, stomped him directly into the ground. Boom! Yi Shiwen didn't hold back at all. Half of Mu Yi's body was trampled by Yi Shiwen, and the internal organs were completely smashed by Yi Shiwen's true essence, so he couldn't survive at all. Impossible! Another Xie Yi shouted. Mu Yi's strength was similar to his, he thought. He could definitely stop Yi Shiwen, but he didn't expect that with just one palm, Mu Yi, whose strength was similar to his, was killed by Yi Shiwen. Just how tyrannical Yi Shiwen was. It is simply unimaginable, super tyrannical. You dare to kill your fellow disciple, you are finished. Not only will you die, but your family will die. Xie Yi shouted. There was a glint in Yi Shiwen's eyes. The most unacceptable thing for him was that someone threatened his family. Dragons have reverse scales, and if they touch it, they will be angry. In this world, Yi Shiwen's only fetter is his family. Take this to threaten him is to seek death. Boom! Another terrifying aura spread from Yi Shiwen. The whole person is like a tornado, rolling up waves of terror. Shaped like a cannonball, it was instantly ejected and shot straight at Xie Yi. Before Xie Yi could react, he saw a huge slap getting closer and closer. Instantly, he swiped towards his cheek. Bold! Luo Fangyi roared, but he reacted and pointed out. One finger seemed to be about to break the world, instantly bursting the air, making a sizzling sound in midair, and instantly pointed at Yi Shiwen. Go away! Yi Shiwen shouted loudly, and suddenly spread into layers of sound waves, and that finger was defeated by the layers of sound waves. Then Luo Fangyi immediately stepped back several steps. Even among the masters of the half-step true way, there are strong and weak ones. Yi Shiwen is obviously the strongest type, and this Luo Fangyi has just stepped into the half-step true way. Realm is nothing, it can only be regarded as a bottom. Luo Fangyi couldn't stop Yi Shiwen's footsteps at all, and Yi Shiwen's slap got closer and closer. Clap! A huge and loud slap came, and Xie Yi was instantly spun around by Yi Shiwen, and Yi Shiwen's mouth was half revoked by Yi Shiwen. Bang! Yi Shiwen kicked out and directly hit Xie Yi's dantian. Xie Yi's dantian was smashed by Yi Shiwen, and his whole body couldn't bear the gravity and flew out. Immediately afterwards, Yi Shiwen slashed with a knife in his hand and chased after him. PFF'd. Then Xie Yi was beheaded in half by Yi Shiwen in midair. Jing Yanan's eyes on Yi Shiwen sucked in a breath of cold air. Unexpectedly, Yi Shiwen was so ruthless and decisive, without any hesitation. After most people know about the family background of Luo family, they will hesitate, and even try to find a way to make peace. Even if they know that there is no room for making peace, but they dare to make such a direct move. After all, there are still very few. It is not so easy to cultivate core disciples and seed disciples. It can even be said that these people were cultivated by the Luo family. In the future, they will be promoted to the true way. There is no longer any room for return between the two parties. Only immortality. You, how dare you? Luo Fangyi looked at Yi Shiwen in disbelief. The domineering of the Luo family is well known, and they are used to it. Most people don't dare to oppose the Luo family. Just hearing the name of the Luo family, it was enough to make them tremble. It's not that Yi Shiwen is cruel, she has done a lot of things even more cruel than this. Anyone who can reach the current level of disciples can be called ruthless and decisive, otherwise she would have died countless times earlier, but that's all she is right. Others have done it, and no one has ever done this to her. What are you? Since you all dare to kill me, you must be prepared to be killed by me. Yi Shiwen's anger was also rising, threatening him with his family. He absolutely believed that the Luo family people can definitely do it. This is absolutely no joke. Luo Fangyi could feel Yi Shiwen's almost substantive murderous aura, and she made no secret that this time Yi Shiwen really had murderous intentions. From the fight just now, Luo Fangyi knew that she was definitely not Yi Shiwen's opponent, and she was extremely frightened. How could Yi Shiwen be so powerful? I will definitely be able to kill this Yi Shiwen, just because of the request of my brother. To keep him, he has to do it himself, so Yi Shiwen was not killed at the beginning. There was a sudden shudder now. If she had shot from the beginning, she would definitely be the first to die now. Thinking of this, after a shiver, Luo Fangyi stepped down and fled into the distance. Want to go? Humph. She turned around and left, but a burst of real energy came from behind, knocking her to the ground in a panic, followed by a figure descending from the sky. He stepped on her body violently, and the terrifying force made his mouth suffocate for a while, and he was about to spit out a mouthful of blood. None of you want to leave today, Yi Shiwen said coldly. Originally, Yi Shiwen didn't want to start killing people, and for Hu Yuanhang, he just abolished his martial arts, but then the three of them were completely angry with Yi Shiwen. Since they were completely angry, Yi Shiwen didn't care about anything. Then cut the weeds and remove the roots. If one is released, trouble will follow. As long as the Luo family does not find evidence, then they can only do the same as they are now. Then Yi Shiwen should be careful, but once he is caught, if you get the handle, then the Luo family will definitely have many ways to deal with him, and even use the power of the sect to deal with him. At that time, they will be unreasonable, and their strength will not be comparable to the Luo family. I am afraid it is really a dead end. Yi Shiwen's true essence was like the strongest shackles, locking Luo Fangyi firmly on the ground, unable to move. Junior Sister Hua, save me. At this time, Luo Fangyi saw Hua Mengan, as if she had seen a peerless savior, and wanted to grab the last straw. Seeing Hua Mengan turn her face away, a sense of despair came to her heart, and she hurriedly shouted, Junior Sister Hua, we are sisters and sisters. If you don't care, you won't be able to pass the master's test. I didn't see anything. A trace of disgust flashed in Hua Mengan's eyes. Seeing Luo Fangyi being restrained by Yi Shiwen, she felt a little pleasure in her heart. Since she joined the division, Luo Fangyi has been looking for her trouble. Luo Fangyi has always thought that it was because of her arrival that the sect master refused to accept her as a closed disciple and looked for trouble with her everywhere. Some time ago, her younger brother actually poisoned her. If he hadn't met Yi Shiwen, he would have died. It is small, and I am afraid that I will be insulted before I die. Thinking of this, Hua Mengan's anger was no less than Yi Shiwen's. Hearing Hua Mengan's words, Luo Fangyi immediately went mad and shouted, You bitch, you can't help you, I'm a ghost. Yi Shiwen killed him before he finished speaking. At this time, Yi Shiwen didn't have the slightest idea of sympathy for Shangxiangxiu. Let's hurry up and report to the sect. Senior Sister Luo and the others were killed when they fought against the demons, and the corpses were eaten by the demons on the spot. At this time, Jing Yanan said suddenly, Yi Shiwen immediately understood that what Jing Yan'an said was to show that they would stand on the same front as Yi Shiwen and would not expose him. After all, Yi Shiwen had also seen the decisive killing just now. They were also afraid that Yi Shiwen would suddenly attack. They also had a deeper friendship with Hua Mengan on weekdays. Besides Hu Yuanhang, they also hated the Luo family very much, because in the relationship with Hua Mengan, they were not less targeted by Luo Fengyi and others on weekdays, but now of course they refused to implicate themselves for the death of these enemies. Yeah, what a pity. Those demons are too cruel. Everyone immediately agreed and said that Jing Yan'an stepped forward and killed Hu Yuanhang, who had only one breath left. Even Hua Mengan nodded, expressing his approval of the result. With a wave of his palm, the flames condensed by his true essence flew to the ground. On the 4 corpses, there was a raging fire, and after a while, there was nothing left of the burn. Chapter 151 Goal, True Demon General. For more than half a month, I quietly went to Zhejiang. During the most half-month, the entire demon realm was in motion. First of all, Luo Fengyi, the eldest daughter of the Luo family, disappeared. The news made a sensation in the demon realm. Luo Fengyi, he was the most outstanding genius of the Luo family who was most likely to set foot on the true path after Luo Yifan, but now, he has completely disappeared and can't be found at all, not even the body. This made the Luo family suddenly angry, especially Luo Yifan, who was still in the demon realm, and frantically searched for Yi Shiwen's whereabouts, because he had a hunch that this was Yi Shiwen's hand at all. Although there was news that Luo Fengyi was killed by the demons, he didn't believe it at all. It must have been killed by Yi Shiwen. Because Luo Fengyi lost the news when he went to intercept Yi Shiwen, and the 2 partners around him lost the news. But even though the Luo family was furious about this matter, and Luo Yifan wanted to find Yi Shiwen everywhere, to break Yi Shiwen into tens of thousands of pieces, but he couldn't search with great fanfare, and he couldn't even say what he suspected of Yi Shiwen. What to say? Could it be that when the Huas went to kill Yi Shiwen, they were killed by Yi Shiwen? First of all, Yi Shiwen is already the chief of the inner sect's seed disciples, and he has refreshed the records of the One Yuan sect for so many years. He is vaguely treated by many people as the next Chi Feifei, and has entered the eyes of many old people. It is not what it used to be. It's okay to be a nobody, but it's okay to kill him. As long as someone doesn't get caught, it's okay for those old people to get angry, not to mention, who would speak up for a dead person. But if they were to be publicly intercepted, the anger of those old guys might really be able to drown the Luo family. The Luo family is very powerful, but not so big that they can cover the sky with one hand, and there are many enemies. This is the rule of the One Yuan sect, at least the rules that are followed on the bright side. If they are allowed to kill whoever they want, then this Yuan sect will probably be disturbed all day long. Second, it can't be said that they may have been killed by Yi Shiwen. I'm afraid there will be an uproar at that time. There is no evidence. Besides, Yi Shiwen is the chief seed disciple of the inner disciple and has already made many old guys very uncomfortable. Be optimistic about him. If it is revealed that Yi Shiwen can kill the top powerhouses among the core disciples, the powerhouses who are half steps of the true way, then the One Yuan sect will be a sensation, and even many powerhouses in retreat will be alarmed. The little guy who has been in the sect for 1 year is actually so strong. At that time, maybe there will be a few old guys who have retreated in the depths of time and space to come out and bring Yi Shiwen to the depths of time and space to cultivate Yi Shiwen with the resources of the whole sect. Compared with such a genius, Luo Fengyi will die when he dies. Who would speak up for a dead person? Not to mention Luo Fengyi was still going to kill Yi Shiwen, and it was even more unreasonable. How long has it been since Yi Shiwen? It's just such a monster. If he has the opportunity to get a lot of resources to train his nose, no one knows how he will defy the sky in the future. Therefore, it is not easy to kill Yi Shiwen without disturbing others. In less than a month, several groups of seed disciples who were looking for Yi Shiwen's core disciples disappeared. Luo Fengyi disappeared out of thin air. Luo Yifan knew that Yi Shiwen must have done it, but it was useless. There was no evidence, but the loss of the Luo family during this period was enough to make the Luo family feel distressed for a while. Although it was not the true way, it was not easy to cultivate these seed disciples. It will take decades and a lot of resources to go down. If it is just ordinary innate 9 layers, it will be fine, but these are elites, who learn the best martial arts and eat the best treasures. Martial arts, it is also far better than his peers. It can be said that he has the opportunity to advance to the true Tao in the future, but it is gone, and it has all disappeared. That is to say, among the seed disciples in this session, there are no members of the Luo family. The Luo family's loss is not trivial. Luo Yifan's rage is not without reason. Luo Yifan searched the entire outer area of the demon realm, but he couldn't see Yi Shiwen, as if Yi Shiwen was also dead, but he knew that Yi Shiwen was not dead, definitely not dead. His intuition told Yi Shiwen should still be alive. However, he did not dare to go too deep into the demon realm, because there are many demon kingdoms in the depths of the demon realm, and the monarchs of the demons are very powerful, and there are also many true masters and true disciples. Only a few people, such as Qi Feifei, can be invincible, and the others can only sweep around the periphery. And he never thought that Yi Shiwen, who he had been looking for so long, was actually in the depths of the demon realm. For others, the depths of the demon realm were very dangerous, with a large number of powerful demons in it. But for Yi Shiwen, this is not the case. With the Tianyuan mirror, he is not his opponent at all unless he encounters the demons of the true realm. Since killing Luo Fangyi, he has been honing in the depths of the demon realm. On the one hand, it is to avoid Luo Yifan's search. He knows that Luo Yifan will definitely not dare to come in. The one who can come in here is either Qi, an invincible superpower like Feifei, or Yi Shiwen, who has other means, simply doesn't care about anything. On the other hand, it was also because the demons on the periphery were no longer enough for him, and the essence absorbed by killing those demons was far from enough for Yi Shiwen, and it was basically useless. Even if it absorbs the essence of the demons in the half-step true realm, the effect is not very big. Now it's almost time to go out. Luo Yifan has not been able to find himself for more than half a month, and he will definitely block himself outside. Yi Shiwen knew very well, so Yi Shiwen had to take a risk. Now your cultivation is at the peak of the 7th level of the innate, and your combat power is comparable to that of a half-step true master, but even if you break through to the 8th level of the innate, you are still only half-step true. Yi Mo said, you are not after all. Seriously break through to the realm of the true way. The gap between the true way and the half-step true way is beyond your imagination. Unless you can break through to the realm of the 9th level of the congenital, at that time, you will be able to truly match the combat power of the 1st level of the true way. It also has the real power of self-protection. I know, Yi Shiwen said, unless I have a lot of high-grade spirit stones for me to absorb, or if I accumulate it by myself, it will take too long, and it is very likely that you can't cross this hurdle in 8 years. If you don't get into a tiger, you can't get a tiger's son. Just kill the true level demon general. The transformed essence will definitely allow me to break through to the 9th level of the innate in a short period of time. Yi Shiwen squinted his eyes were inexplicable, of light flickering. If it is a human true master, Yi Shiwen can't even think about it, even if he is the top powerhouse of the half-step true way. I am afraid that there is no rival at the half-step true way, but encountering a true level powerhouse is enough to kill him. This is also the reason why he has been avoiding Luo Yifan. Now it is about time to go out. Yi Shiwen has successively slaughtered several people from the Luo family who were planted among the seed disciples. Luo Yifan is probably already mad. At that time, even in the public, it is possible to kill him. Unless Yi Shiwen doesn't plan to go out, he will meet him sooner or later. And if he didn't go out, Yi Shiwen doubted whether the Luo family would take their anger to Qianyu Pavilion or their Yi family. Therefore, Yi Shiwen could only take a risk. There is nothing Yi Shiwen can do for the true masters of human beings, but for those true masters of the demon race, Yi Shiwen believes that as long as there is suppression by the Tianyuan mirror, there is still a certain possibility. Yi Shiwen has been observing this mountain for a long time. The group of people below came out of a demon city in the distance. The one guarded by many demons in the center was a true level demon. Before Yi Shiwen I also inquired in the form of a demon. This true level demon is called the Hurricane Lord. He has just stepped into the true way and was conferred by the demon emperor of the demon kingdom. He was appointed as the lord of the nearby hurricane city. These days, He would go out of the city to inspect his territory almost every day, and every time he would call in front and back, bringing with him many subordinates and slaves of the demon race. Yi Shiwen looked at the Hurricane Lord below coldly. The only thing to worry about was the Hurricane Lord. Under the suppression of the Tianyuan mirror, the remaining demons couldn't even get half of their strength. No matter how many they are, yes, his influence is not too big, and the more tricky one is this Hurricane Lord who has just stepped into the true way. Because he has just stepped into the true way, the aura of this Hurricane Lord is still a little unstable. Yi Shiwen had no other choice. After spending a long time in the vicinity, the lords of the nearby cities were all old demons who had stepped into the true way for a long time, and all of them were very terrifying. Relatively speaking, only the Hurricane the Lord is the easiest and the best to deal with. But in the same way, there is only one chance. After this time, the Hurricane Lord will definitely be vigilant. It is hard to say whether he will travel next time. Even if he travels, he will be surrounded by a large number of guards, plus with his own powerful strength. Even if Yi Shiwen relied on Tianyuan Mirror's suppression, he had no chance of winning. Come on. Yi Shiwen let out a low voice, and stepped out a deep footprint. The real person was like an arrow from the string, rushing towards Hurricane Ling Lu and his group. Chapter 152. Yi Shiwen's soft drink immediately attracted the attention of many demon guards. They were alerted at the beginning, and they all pulled out their weapons and looked at Yi Shiwen coldly. Without asking who Yi Shiwen was, it was definitely not a friend. When he smelled the human breath on Yi Shiwen's body, his face changed drastically. Humans are actually human beings. In the demon realm, the human race and the demon race are enemies of life and death. As long as humans appear, they must be killed. Human warriors regard them as objects of experience, and the hearts of these demon races are also burning with anger. Suffer to death. A demon race innate 9th level expert shot with a long sword, and the light of thousands of swords seemed to cut the world into sections. Yi Shiwen swung the knife out, like the Milky Way falling for 9 days, swaying a brilliance, instantly shattering the knife light, and slashing towards the master. Dang! There was a huge symphony of gold and iron, the sword light intersected, and the long sword of the demon master instantly shattered and fell into pieces. Yi Shiwen's sword light slashed like lightning without any hindrance, and the demon race expert suddenly had no time to dodge. The other demon masters did not change because their companions were easily beheaded by Yi Shiwen. The demons who climbed out of the mountain of corpses and blood had long since looked down on life and death. They were extremely cold-blooded. In addition, all the demons were cruel. The existence of the extreme, this time will not care. Chong, chong, chong. Dozens of weapons suddenly shot, and the light of the sword shook the sky, and every light of the sword shook in midair, and countless sword shadows swayed directly in the sky, triggering the echo of the demonic energy of heaven and earth. These demon masters cooperated very well. These weapons attacked almost at the same time, and they seemed to form a formation that surrounded Yi Shiwen in the middle, blocking all the space for escape. Yi Shiwen had no expression on his face. He walked on the steps of an immortal without any stagnation in his footsteps. He ran towards the Hurricane Lord. He just swung a knife. When, the energy collided fiercely, and Yi Shiwen's blade light swept away the energy of the demon masters almost instantly. The weapon of the demon master was cut off in an instant, and Yi Shiwen burst into a more powerful knife light in an instant, and shot ruthlessly. Puff! A demon master was pierced by Yi Shiwen's knife light, smashed his internal organs, and died instantly. Yi Shiwen danced out a long saber, and the saber chi flew horizontally and horizontally again, flying behind him. Bang! A demon master was cut off in the middle, and the two bodies flew out. Yi Shiwen rushed into the group of demon guards as if he was strolling in the courtyard. The other demon guards saw that their companions were dying, but they were not afraid at all. Instead, they rushed forward without fear of death. These demon guards had undergone very strict training, and were only loyal to the Hurricane Lord, and were generally cruel. The demons who are easy to kill but extremely cunning are completely different. Bang! There was no suspense. The demon masters who rushed up were all slashed by Yi Shiwen with a knife, and the infuriating energy burst out in an instant. His head shattered, and it was split in half. Yi Shiwen slaughtered all the way in like a leisurely, as if in shock, blood all the way. The guards of the Hurricane Lord are different from the powerhouses of the demon race. Each of them has followed the Hurricane Lord to the east and west a long time ago. They are not necessarily the opponents of these guards. They are like killing machines crawling out of a sea of corpses and blood. They are ruthless, and they are not afraid of death. But it was such a master who was wiped out by Yi Shiwen walking around in the courtyard, like killing chickens and dogs, and everyone who was so quick didn't have time to react. Damn human beings, dare to appear in front of us, really courting death. A master of the demon race who was half-step true, rushed over. He was the captain of the guard of the demon race. In the distance, the Hurricane Lord looked coldly at Yi Shiwen who rushed over. Yi Shiwen was not even a true Taoist. He didn't take Yi Shiwen in his eyes at all. Looking down at Yi Shiwen was like looking down at an ant. That half-step true master of the demon race slammed out with one move, and the endless punches twisted up, forming a tornado like a tornado, swept away towards Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen swung a knife, without any dazzling moves, just a light slash, and in an instant, the knife was brilliant, and a blade of dozens of meters was formed in an instant, and it slashed fiercely. That half-step true demon master did not expect Yi Shiwen it is so sturdy. After all, humans of the same level are far inferior to the demons of the same level. The demons are inherently more advantageous than humans, but Yi Shiwen is not a master of the half-step true way. In the half-step true Tao realm, he could not find an opponent, so he easily broke his punch, and Yi Shiwen cut off an arm on the spot before he could react. Yi Shiwen won the power, otherwise, the second knife cut out in an instant. It was the moonless cut, one knife after another, without any pause at all. PFF'd. The demon master who was half-step true was cut in half by Yi Shiwen. Human, you are so courageous, you dare to break into my Hurricane Lord's station. At this time, the Hurricane Lord finally moved. Human, today you are sure to die. I will use your blood to wash the human race against us. Shame on the demon race. Stop talking nonsense, Lord Hurricane. Today you are either dead or I am dead. Yi Shiwen didn't want to talk nonsense with Lord Hurricane at all. After the investigation in the past few days, he also knew one thing, that is, Lord Hurricane and other demon lords are also normal. Unparalleled brutality. The surrounding demons all moved away and did not dare to approach. These two people are far from being comparable to them, and most people are afraid that they will die. Humans, go to hell. The Hurricane Lord roared, punched out, and swept out layers of demonic energy. In the void, it condensed into black lotuses that fell from the sky. They all contain terrifying power. If an ordinary expert of the nine heavens layers encounters them, they will be bombed to death, and there is no room for them to turn around. At this time, the Tianyuan mirror on Yi Shiwen's body finally showed its power. A terrifying, emperor-like coercion instantly suppressed the Hurricane Lord, and instantly made the Hurricane Lord feel only aggrieved. Feeling, a terrifying pressure pressed over. However, the Black Lotus still fell to Yi Shiwen's side at a terrifying speed. Yi Shiwen immediately slashed out, and the terrifying sword intent of a pair of falling moon pictures spurted out instantly and swept toward those black lotuses. Boom, 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 boom. Yi Shiwen's sword intent swept through most of the black lotuses, and the pieces began to explode rapidly. An ant-like human, die. Being held down by an inexplicable pressure, he actually had a feeling of wanting to surrender, and it came directly from the bottom of his heart. This feeling made the Hurricane Lord, his heart was about to depressed and mad, he shot again. Boom, boom, boom. The strange disappearance of these black lotuses reappeared and directly hit Yi Shiwen's back. PFF'd. Yi Shiwen spurted out a mouthful of blood. The inner armor that Yi Shiwen originally wore was completely shattered, and the back was dripping with blood, and the flesh was blurred. A true master is a true master. It is extremely terrifying. It has just been shot. Although most of his strength has been suppressed by Tianyuan Jing, it is still enough to cause fatal danger to Yi Shiwen. If it is full of strength, just now, it was enough to kill Yi Shiwen. But Yi Shiwen didn't have the slightest fear on his face. On the contrary, his face was full of fighting spirit. He regarded him as a tempered opponent, a terrible opponent, but also an opponent that had to be defeated. Damn human, I'm going to crush you. The Hurricane Lord roared and threw a punch. Boom. That punch, the fist wind swept out an extremely terrifying black whirlwind, which seemed to be able to cut off space, distort everything, and let the magic swept across the world. This punch came, as if time was stagnant at this moment, only to see the brilliance of this punch. An invisible pressure instantly hit Yi Shiwen's heart. "Be careful, Yi Shiwen," Yi Mo shouted loudly. The terrifying level of this true level demon was far beyond his imagination. The splendid fist strength seems to be infinitely magnified, as if it traverses the sky and slams it fiercely. Ordinary people can't see it clearly, even Yi Shiwen can only see a terrifying trajectory of fist power. The long sword in his hand suddenly shoots, and it also emits a splendid light, and a supreme sword intent rises into the sky and transforms into one after another. The scrolls were suppressed towards the terrifying fist. Yi Shiwen's face was sinking like water. He gritted his teeth, and pressed down under terrifying pressure. Boom! The fist strength and the sword light suddenly collided. The dazzling sight made it difficult to open your eyes, almost shattered the space, replayed the chaos, and re-evolved the scene of the Big Bang. The huge impact directly set off layers of storms. The splendid fist strength, under the blessing of the true essence behind the Hurricane Lord incomparably, quickly swallowed the sword light, and the gap in strength between the two sides was vividly reflected at this time. Boom! An extremely terrifying punch hit Yi Shiwen's body at this moment. Yi Shiwen spit out a mouthful of blood, and the terrifying punch roared on Yi Shiwen's body. Deafening in an instant, the fist strength dissipated, and Yi Shiwen's mouth was almost smeared with flesh and blood. If it wasn't for Yi Shiwen's unusually strong body, he would have been smashed into pieces by the fist strength. Chapter 153 Comparable to the True Way. Yi Shiwen's body was about to be beaten to pieces. This true master's blow was too terrifying, but it was only this time. The Hurricane Lord was once again suppressed by Tianyuan Jing. As long as the pressure was stable, we'll never launch such a terrifying attack again. However, the Hurricane Lord did not give Yi Shiwen much time to rest, and he slammed over with another punch, which slammed across the sky and slammed over. Yi Shiwen's figure swept out in the air, and a sword intent shot up into the sky, forming a lifelike sword intent. Everywhere he passed, he would be destroyed, and everything he saw would be obliterated. Killing intent came to the sky. Under the urging of his true essence, the long knife in his hand soared countless times and slashed towards the Hurricane Lord. Hurricane Lord's fist strength condensed into an invincible war demon in the void, rushing towards Yi Shiwen, killing invincible, and Yi Shiwen's sword intent was transformed into a picture scroll. Each picture scroll can suppress the universe, crushing everything. This war demon was wiped out by Yi Shiwen's knife intentions one by one. But at the same time, Yi Shiwen didn't stop at all. He stretched out his big hand and turned it into dragon claws and dragon palms. Diving out of the abyss, grab it towards the Hurricane Lord. Boom! Yi Shiwen's dragon claws slammed directly on the Hurricane Lord, and he didn't know how many ribs were broken. At this time, another punch from the Hurricane Lord also slammed into Yi Shiwen's body and directly smashed it. Yi Shiwen's body had several bones. Both sides spit out a mouthful of blood and flew out, both shocked by the other's means. The killing intent in the eyes of both sides was more intense. Yi Shiwen wanted to kill him to advance to the true way, and the Hurricane Lord couldn't let this human escape. Feud, vengeance, install, boom, boom. The two sides tried their best. Every move would blow up the air and smash the vacuum, and they didn't hold back at all. It can be said that the moves were fierce. The Tianyuan mirror on Qin Feng's head hung down a bloody light curtain. After being knocked down several times, the inside of Yi Shiwen's space ring began to burn with spirit stones, constantly spewing out a large amount of aura to consolidate the Tianyuan mirror. Damn human! The Hurricane Lord roared. He was seriously injured by a humble human, a human who had not yet reached the realm of the true way. Blood was constantly overflowing from the corners of his mouth. The internal organs were pierced, resulting in blood. Yi Shiwen's fierceness, it was far beyond his imagination. He never thought that Yi Shiwen could fight him until now. He thought it was just a human ant who didn't know the true way, but now this human ant actually injured him directly. Let him feel hurt for the first time after he was promoted to the true way. Yi Shiwen did not expect that this true level demon was so terrifying and difficult to deal with, far beyond his imagination, but his face became more and more excited, and the stronger he defeated, the stronger he became. Yi Shiwen looked cold and shouted, "Die!" Yi Shiwen stood up one after another with the intentions of the swords, and the intentions of the swords spread out and pressed down overwhelmingly. This is a competition of artistic conception, and this is also a competition of one, to see who can't stop them first and fall down. Lord Hurricane also roared, and the demonic energy on his body quickly condensed into a war demon. Taking a defensive posture, the heavier his injury, the greater the impact of Yi Mo's Tianyuan mirror on him, and he was almost unable to control his heart. The idea of kneeling down for Yi Shiwen. It was a terrifying thought that made him want to roar, and he must not kneel to a humble human. Boom! The terrifying sword intent slashed down on the Hurricane Lord's war demon, and the falling moon, Xingfeng, and the sharp blade aura instantly cut the war demon in half and slashed onto the Hurricane Lord's body. PFF'd. The Hurricane Lord was blasted directly to the ground, and a mouthful of blood spurted out. Yi Shiwen shot a dragon shadow of a dragon with one palm, roaring, and the sound turned into a sound of arrows. The dragon swings its tail. Bang! The dragon's tail swept over, and the Hurricane Lord was immediately swept away. Panlong's dragon tail swept it, and he still swept it with all his strength. Naturally, the consequences can be imagined. There is no way to protect him at all. Kara, there is no suspense. All the bones in the place where the Hurricane Lord was swept were broken, and they broke into powder in the sound of the dragon's whistle, which was extremely terrifying. Damn! The Hurricane Lord shouted. He was not reconciled, and was defeated by Yi Shiwen like this. Bang! Yi Shiwen smashed Lord Hurricane's bones with one foot, and stepped on the ground with one foot. The Hurricane Lord's heart was reported in an instant. Without the power source of the heart, the Hurricane Lord struggled for a while and finally died. The Tianyuan mirror radiated blood light one after another, shrouding the Hurricane Lord in it. The remaining essence of the Hurricane Lord was instantly absorbed by the Tianyuan mirror, and then the impurities were removed and infused into Yi Shiwen's body. Yi Shiwen's momentum began to rise steadily. Go on, kill this damned human being and avenge the Lord. Some of the remaining demons who were originally in the Hurricane territory immediately collapsed after seeing the Hurricane Lord's death. The original Hurricane Lord, how could they have any sense of belonging to the Hurricane Lord after they arrived in office without much time? But there are still some dead soldiers of the Hurricane Lord. These demons all follow the Hurricane Lord to fight south and north, and they are loyal. At this time, they all jumped up. Yi Shiwen let out a cold snort, a long dragon soared into the sky, circling around Yi Shiwen. The demons were just getting close, they were torn apart by the long dragon, and they couldn't get close to Yi Shiwen at all. Nemesis, plus Yi Shiwen's strength itself is far more powerful than these demons. In addition to this long dragon, the Tianyuan mirror on Yi Shiwen's head is showing its power at this time. To deal with the Hurricane Lord who is already at the true level, it can only be said to be suppressed to a certain extent. The demons of the 8th level innate can be completely suppressed. These demons couldn't resist the terrifying coercion at once, and suddenly knelt to the ground, trembling, as if they were facing the Lord in their hearts and the gods in their hearts. The long dragon didn't dare to raise their heads after slaughtering them, and the essence of these demons was also added to Yi Shiwen's body. Although the effect was not great, it was better than nothing. Yi Shiwen's momentum finally began to climb. Boom! Yi Shiwen first broke through to the 8th level of the innate, and his momentum rose a bit, but it did not change completely. It was still similar to the previous half-step true way, but it was stronger and more unfathomable. Yi Shiwen's body is madly absorbing the life essence of the Hurricane Lord, which is a completely different source of life from the realm of true Taoism. True Tao is already the second metamorphosis of illness. Compared with the time when the acquired breakthrough was born, the change was even greater. From the acquired breakthrough to the innate, the lifespan broke from 100 years to 200 years, and after breaking through to the true way again, the life expectancy it will break through to 500 years old in one fell swoop, which has almost doubled. The essence of life has begun to show a completely different tendency from innate. The innate realm begins to exercise the physical body purely from the acquired realm, and moves towards communicating the changes of heaven and earth, and to the realm of the true way. It begins to understand some laws between heaven and earth, and begins to use some laws between heaven and earth, such as flying, which itself violates the relationship between heaven and earth. The reason is the normal principle between heaven and earth. Those without wings cannot fly, but after understanding some laws, they can surpass them. For example, living and breathing in water, walking in fire, these are all it can no longer be regarded as a human ability, but a true master can do it. Begin to transform from the mortal to the legendary fairy. Although this hurricane lord is a demon, but in this respect, he is indistinguishable from a human. The essence of a true master, which is completely different from the essence of the innate realm, instantly made Yi Shiwen's cultivation level rise, stand up. At the same time, Yi Shiwen also found that when Yi Shiwen began to come into contact with the realm of the true way and the laws between heaven and earth, the space in his mind also began to change. Originally it was only for martial arts, and he could analyze it continuously and appeared in front of Yi Shiwen, so that Yi Shiwen could understand. In other words, the original space seems to be explaining the content of the university in a language that elementary school students can understand. This is a miracle in itself, an incredible myth. If it wasn't for this mysterious space, Yi Shiwen would not have been at all. It may have risen in more than a year, because it took him more than a year to travel the distance that others can travel for decades and hundreds of years. Now, as Yi Shiwen came into contact with the law, this mysterious space actually began to analyze the mysteries of the law for Yi Shiwen. In front of the law of heaven and earth, Yi Shiwen was not even a primary school student, and he was not even as good as a preschool class, almost completely ignorant, but now Yi Shiwen found that as long as he kept instilling spiritual energy, his understanding of the laws of heaven and earth could continue to improve. This is also the fundamental reason why he has the confidence to compete with the true masters at the 9th level, because the biggest difference between true masters and innate masters is that they have mastered some of the most basic laws. But now, Yi Shiwen can use the mysterious space and master it. Innate 8 layers midterm. Congenital 8th layer late stage. Innate 8 peaks. Boom. Yi Shiwen's aura suddenly rose to a terrifying level, and the clouds in the sky were twisted into a ball with his breakthrough. Innate 9 layers. Yi Shiwen's combat power soared directly to the first level of true Tao, and he just stopped. Yi Shiwen really opened his eyes, and 2 bright beams shot out, blasting the air. Chapter 154. The trial is over. Yi Shiwen has restrained his breath. Although it is generally difficult for people who have just broken through to control their own information, such as the previous Hurricane Lord, but Yi Shiwen is different. Even if a true master is in front of him, it is difficult to find his existence. In an instant, he restrained his breath. At this time, there were no demons within 100 miles. The Hurricane Lord was killed by Yi Shiwen. How dare they stay? While Yi Shiwen was breaking through, he left quickly. At this time, Yi Shiwen felt that there were one after another of spiritual thoughts swept over. All of them were masters of the true level, and only 10 spiritual thoughts swept over the nearby ones. It seems that the world changed when Yi Shiwen broke through just now. A lot of people are paying attention. It's not advisable to stay here for a long time, it's better to leave quickly. Yi Mo said, there may be some powerful demon masters at the true Tao level coming over. Yi Shiwen nodded and said, now this trial should be over, we are just going out. Yi Shiwen said that he stepped on a rainbow light under his feet. Stepping on the rainbow light, Yi Shiwen disappeared into the void, as handsome as a fairy. A month has passed in a blink of an eye, and the time for the One Yuan sect to open the demon realm has already arrived. Although the loss of personnel this time is not small, these will soon be replenished outside. The team of 100 people is fundamentally it's not a problem. The point is that if a few people can make progress by leaps and bounds, they are better than anything else. This is also the fundamental purpose of the One Yuan sect. A strong person is worth thousands of mediocre people. As one of the major forces of the Deu kingdom, what does the One Yuan sect rely on? Not the hundreds of thousands of disciples, not the hundreds of true disciples, but relying on the head of the legendary realm with a number of less than 100, the first and all the elders. This is the foundation and guarantee of the One Yuan sect's true foothold. Therefore, the standard for cultivating disciples in the One Yuan sect has always been the elite model. Although cruel, it is the foundation of the One Yuan sect. Not only the One Yuan sect is like this, other sects are also like this. This is the norm, everywhere. And the seed disciples are undoubtedly the best among them. Have you heard that there is a remarkable figure among the inner disciples this time? A core seed disciple said, looking at the group of inner disciples in the distance. Compared with the core seed disciple team, the number has shrunk by almost 1/3. There are not many of the inner sect seed disciples, only about 1/10 of the number, because they know that their strength is very limited and they dare not go too deep. Basically, they only mix in the outermost places, so it is a loss, least. The so-called one drink and one peck is the number of days. That's why, and because of this, the One Yuan sect dares to put these inner disciples in. Originally, the worst of this place is that only the masters of the core disciples are qualified to enter and leave. Only disciples of the true Tao level have the ability to mix well. Just know that they will not go too deep, and it is not impossible for them to go too deep. If they do not have great luck, great perseverance, and powerful people, they are just a bunch of idiots. If they die, they will die, and there is no pity. This kind of person who can't even see the form is destined to have no future in the future. Amazing person, you are talking about that Yi Shiwen. A disciple next to him replied. The surrounding disciples all made clear expressions, and they all seemed to know something about Yi Shiwen. It's not him. I heard that even Luo Fangyi, Xie Yi and others died at his hands. A disciple said with a heartfelt look. As that's so, no wonder. Some time ago, the people of the Luo family frantically searched the entire demon realm. Another disciple said suddenly. Isn't it like this? Otherwise, why do you think the Luo family is so angry this time? Luo Fangyi is the Luo family who did their best to cultivate, after Luo Yifan, the big man who stepped into the true way, the Luo family's generation, just the two of them. For the first time, he died unexpectedly, and died here. The disciple explained. I heard that Luo Tian's death had nothing to do with this Yi Shiwen, so this time it was the Luo family who planned to kill this Yi Shiwen, but I didn't expect that they would be killed. A disciple said with a nose and eyes. It was as if I had seen it with my own eyes. The Luo family still wants to hide the news. Don't you know that this matter is already known to almost everyone? It's fun. I'm afraid this Yi Shiwen is not a fuel-efficient lamp. Otherwise, the Luo family will be so violent. It's not just a fuel-efficient lamp. I heard that the Luo family sent people to find Yi Shiwen's whereabouts, but they all disappeared, and they all suspected that they had fallen into Yi Shiwen's hands. This time, the power of the Luo family can be said to be a loss. It's big, although it can't be said that it hurts the muscles and bones, but it's definitely hurting the vitality. But there is no evidence. This time the Luo family can only knock down their teeth and swallow them in their stomachs. Said another disciple. HMPH, do you think the Luo family is the kind of master who suffers? That is to say, there is no evidence. If there is evidence, then Yi Shiwen's family will be uprooted, but even so, with the Luo family's behavior, if there is any doubt, it will be that's enough. If you make a mistake, you won't let it go. Come on, let's not discuss it. Neither of the two sides can be discussed casually. It's not that you don't know the domineering style of the Luo family, and that Yi Shiwen can kill so many masters of the Luo family in a short period of time, no matter what it is. The means are enough to see that it is not simple, so don't cause trouble at that time. However, after Hua Mengan and the others heard these remarks, there was a look of worry on their faces. Jing Yanan smiled lightly and said, it should be no problem. Junior brother Yi is very strong, and then the sect will only be able to cultivate him as a peerless genius. The Luo family will not dare to do anything no matter how arrogant it is. Everyone nodded. Although some of them only met Yi Shiwen, they had a good impression of Yi Shiwen. At the critical moment, he was decisive and unscrupulous, but he didn't have the slightest bit of arrogance. It seemed that he was arrogant only for the enemy. It should be a good choice to be friends with him. Suddenly, in the distance, a stream of light flashed past, and a figure descended from the sky. It was Luo Yifan, but at this time Luo Yifan's face was ashen, and the disciples around saw him like this, and they immediately froze. The sound, for fear that when this killing god was in full swing, he would provoke him. It's been a month. I've been searching for a whole month, and there is no news of Yi Shiwen at all. This is simply unimaginable for him. He has never encountered such a cunning enemy, as if one can't always be hit. Mosquitoes can't kill people, but they are annoying, painful, and bleed. Moreover, all the core seed disciples he sent out were all lost. What made him most depressing was that the places where these types of disciples disappeared were completely different. Positioning, it's almost Yuer's death. He didn't know at all that when he was trying to intercept Yi Shiwen was also inquiring about the location of the Luo family's masters, and then went to intercept them, so there was a completely different situation where these people disappeared. He never thought that Yi Shiwen would be so bold and dare to fight back. In short, he is depressed to death. He has never encountered such a situation, but fortunately, all this is about to end, because in addition to the true disciples who can enter and leave the demon realm at will, even the core disciples also need approval, and only under these circumstances can he enter and exit, and the opportunity for the inner disciple is only once. He must come out now, and if he does not come out, he is violating the rules of the sect. It's easy to deal with when it comes out. Then you can do whatever you want. As for the evidence, do you need that thing? Luo Yifan was already furious at this time, and he didn't care so much at all. Luo Yifan strode up in front of Hua Mengan and said coldly, "Hua Mengan, I'm asking you one last time, do you admit that my sister was killed by Yi Shiwen?" Luo Yifan's terrifying momentum poured out and locked Hua Mengan firmly. Hua Mengan was under such terrifying pressure, but her body trembled slightly and did not collapse, because she had treasures on her body to resist this momentum soon returned to normal. Luo Fangyi was killed by the demons. Hua Mengan said calmly. Although Luo Yifan's aura was terrifying, but it was only imposing, Luo Yifan dared to kill Yi Shiwen with great fanfare, but he never dared to do anything to her, otherwise even if he was a true disciple, he would die. HMPH, the demons killed you, why didn't you kill you? Luo Yifan didn't believe Hua Mengan's words at all. What kind of demons were so good? He killed Luo Fangyi and the others, but he let it go. Hua Mengan and a few. This kind of words is almost the same as deceiving children. I don't know about this, senior brother Luo, why don't you ask those demons? Hua Mengan said calmly. Chapter 155 Fight against Luo Yifan. The Luo family is also very aggrieved by this matter. How could such an idiot come out and dare to do something to Hua Mengan? Fortunately, it was not successful. Although it took a lot of money to settle the matter afterwards, it is better than destruction. But Luo Tian's death must have an explanation. Hua Mengan couldn't move, but that damn Yi Shiwen was able to move. Do you think you can protect Yi Shiwen? I'm going to kill him in front of you and let everyone know, angering our Luo family. Luo Yifan looked at Hua Mengan and said viciously. When did I want someone to protect me? Suddenly a leisurely voice came from a distance, from far to near, and after a while, a figure appeared in front of everyone. It was Yi Shiwen, who had disappeared for almost a month. Seeing Yi Shiwen, Jing Yanan and other disciples who were familiar with Yi Shiwen all had a few smiles on their faces. At the same time, they also saw that Yi Shiwen's cultivation level was once again profound and unfathomable. It was impossible to see through Yi Shiwen's cultivation. Okay, very good. Seeing Yi Shiwen appearing in Luo Yifan's killing intent almost materialized, he smiled cruelly. As long as Yi Shiwen showed up, it would be easy, and if he appeared, it would be a dead end. Luo Yifan didn't even ask if Yi Shiwen was the one who killed him, but he had unlimited killing intent and wanted to kill Yi Shiwen to relieve the killing intent in his heart. When his practice has reached such a high level, his emotions should be invisible, and it is difficult for any emotion to control his reason, but after encountering Yi Shiwen, he is always so impulsive, as if Yi Shiwen was his nemesis. Luo Yifan vaguely calculated that Yi Shiwen might have a great relationship with him, and it might even be his nemesis. If Yi Shiwen could not be killed, even if he hides and cultivates in the future, the road of cultivation will become extremely difficult. Is this Yi Shiwen's brain okay? He knew that senior brother Luo was going to deal with him, yet he dared to show up. What can I do if I don't show up? Now that the trial has ended, he has to show up. Otherwise, he will violate the rules of the sect. At that time, brother Luo can justifiably use the power of the sect to deal with him. Yeah, but I think Yi Shiwen is also very successful, so he should have a certain degree of certainty. I think he wants to drag the elders and many true disciples and seniors to come. At that time, it is impossible for Luo seniors to do it. Yi Shiwen, if you show up later, maybe you can wait for the elders to come, but now, it's too early, you're dead. Luo Yifan sneered at Yi Shiwen and said, seeing Yi Shiwen's expression. It was like looking at a dead man. It's too early to say anything now. Yi Shiwen smiled coldly and nodded slightly to Hua Mengan to show her gratitude for not betraying herself just now. Yi Shiwen, take action. This time I will kill you completely and make you immortal, so that you will never be reincarnated. Luo Yifan hated Yi Shiwen very much. If that's the case, let's try it. Yi Shiwen said lightly. The long knife behind him was unsheathed in an instant. The Chang long knife was in his hand, and the real essence glowed faintly on it, and it suddenly turned into a sign in. The sword light shrouded Shang Luo Yifan. This is after Yi Shiwen has reached the power of good fortune, and the crescent slash that has been cut out has far surpassed the power of his original version. Yi Shiwen's current skill is stronger than that of Cold Moon Cut. The creator's skill is probably even higher. The first style of Cold Moon Slash, New Moon Slash, has reached its peak, that is, 9 sword shadows are cut out, but now Yi Shiwen has long been free from New Moon Slash. Beheaded, and if you cut it out at random, there are thousands of sword lights, completely shrouding Luo Yifan in it. No matter what kind of movement he wants to use, he can't escape. HMPH, it's just a little trick to eagle worms. I'll show you the strength of a real person. Luo Yifan sneered, and while he was talking, a sword appeared in Luo Yifan's hand, and it stabbed at it almost instantly. The shadow of the sword that Yi Shiwen cut out. Fast. This sword can be described as unparalleled speed. In that instant, even the speed of lightning was surpassed by him. At this moment, the air was stabbed, but the response of the air was too slow. After his sword passed through, the air began to explode, showing how fast he was. Boom! This sword was extremely terrifying, with an unparalleled terrifying aura, and instantly pierced Yi Shiwen's shadow of the sword. He saw through the weakness of Yi Shiwen's sword shadow in the sky, and let his sword light come from the sky. He only broke all evil with one sword. The endless air waves were lifted up in an instant, which was a terrifying force, and the space was distorted in this collision. But Yi Shiwen is not that simple. In an instant, the first knife changed from the crescent moon to the lacking moon. The second knife came in a blink of an eye, slashing fiercely, with more terrifying power and faster speed than the first knife. A more precise location. It was almost at that moment that Luo Yifan felt a murderous aura coming straight towards his eyebrows. An astonishing knife aura had already swept through the air, and a hint of surprise appeared on his face. He never expected that Yi Shiwen would actually to be able to fight back so quickly, is to realize that the swordsmanship has reached a terrifying situation, and there is no stagnation in the transformation between various swordsmanship. How is that possible? Luo Yifan was a little surprised. He originally thought that he could split this ant in the innate realm, which didn't know the heights of the sky and the earth, in half with just one strike. But that's the end of it. Luo Yifan sneered, and instantly slashed dozens of swords, each of which aroused the crazy movement of the spiritual energy between heaven and earth, sending out the most brilliant brilliance and slashing at Yi Shiwen. The space will be distorted, and Yi Shiwen's figure is completely hidden under the endless sword light. It's terrifying. As expected of senior brother Luo, this move is too terrifying. It's really a miracle. With one sword down, a mountain will be flattened. It's really worthy of being a true disciple. Once you show your power, it's such a terrifying move. The surrounding disciples exclaimed, this sword is really not a puppet, it is the terrifying strength that true disciples can send out. Innate and true Tao are only separated by one layer, but they are one heaven and one earth. Don't look at the rumor that Yi Shiwen has slaughtered several innate 9 major consummations, and even masters of half-step true Tao, but everyone feels that Yi Shiwen is absolutely unable to stop this move. The true disciples are too terrifying. Under this kind of unparalleled fierce attack, even the warriors who are in the realm of the true realm will have to drink and hate on the spot. After all, Kendo has always been famous for attacks, let alone a mere congenital warrior. Heaven and earth are coercing Yi Shiwen. This is the power of the true powerhouse, mobilizing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth like true energy, easily crushing the attack of the innate warrior. Boom, boom, boom. Countless loud explosions of air set off an endless storm, flying sand and rocks to blow everything away. Every sword chi was as fast as lightning, and the sky was densely packed, like a giant net, sealing off all the spaces for Yi Shiwen to escape. Yi Shiwen also had to admit that Luo Yifan really had the capital to be proud of. In the endless sea of swords, Yi Shiwen's thin figure seemed to be a small boat, swaying in the wind, as if he would be drowned and killed in the next second. Heng, is that the only way? Yi Shiwen's aura was no longer concealed, and he was completely released. A terrifying aura shot straight into the sky, stirring the surrounding laws, comparable to the terrifying aura of true Tao. What? How could Yi Shiwen have such a terrifying aura? This is an aura that is comparable to the true way, not worse than senior brother Luo at all. When did Yi Shiwen cultivate the true way? We don't have any news at all. If there is such a genius in the door, it should have been reported long ago. How is it possible? This is simply a miracle. It's a myth. Just entered the main sect. Yi Shiwen's ability to suppress all inner disciples is already a miracle, and now it is comparable to true disciples. This is a myth at all. When this news spreads, it will definitely cause a sensation, and even the head will be alarmed. The achievements in the future are simply limitless. Not to mention that ordinary disciples are so surprised, not to mention Hua Mengan and others who had an intersection with Yi Shiwen before, as if they were watching some kind of Arabian Nights, especially Hua Mengan, who had just when I saw Yi Shiwen, he was just an acquired martial artist, but now he has grown to such a terrifying level, it's hard to believe. She is also a martial artist herself, so she naturally knows how difficult it is to cross the innate realm. Even a genius can't do this. She has reached such a terrifying realm in more than a year. True Tao, for many disciples, is a goal worth pursuing for a lifetime, and Yi Shiwen, has he achieved it? It seems to be a matter of course. When I saw Yi Shiwen before, Yi Shiwen was already a strong person in the realm of half-step true Taoism, and even Luo Fengyi was killed by him. For a time, many people stared at Yi Shiwen in stunned eyes. Yi Shiwen shouted loudly, and the long sword shot, the shadow of the sword in the sky, triggered the visions between heaven and earth, and the spiritual energy surged frantically, and went straight towards Zhanmeng, pressing down. Yi Shiwen's sword light smashed all Luo Yifan's sword light, and the sword energy was vertical and horizontal, but he was helpless in the face of the powerful sword light. Luo Yifan's swordsmanship is profound and his attack power is unparalleled, but Yi Shiwen is also an unparalleled master, and his understanding of the swordsmanship has reached a very high level, even more than Luo Yifan, and his attack power is also extremely powerful, as the so-called needle-tip to maiming. Xiao Chen did what he said, and Chapter 156 Complete Suppression. Yi Shiwen used the Tianyuan mirror to protect his body and physical and even casual attacks could not hurt Yi Shiwen at all. What's more, Yi Shiwen's physical body was even more domineering under the exercise of the dominant body art. Yi Shiwen can shoot unscrupulously, but Luo Yifan can't follow it unscrupulously. Although his is also very powerful, he is not as perverted as Yi Shiwen. With such a strong attack, he can be severely injured in a single blow. Moon Deficient Slash. Yi Shiwen slashed the moon falling saber's intention, the ancient scroll unfolded, and the endless blade light spewed out, condensed into a huge blade in midair, and blasted towards Luo Yifan at once. Incomparably brilliant brilliance, a dazzling knife mark drawn in the air is shocking and pleasing to the eye. Bang! Luo Yifan swung his sword and slashed above the blade light, and suddenly a huge force shook a huge storm. Luo Yifan was directly shocked by this terrible force and flew out. He spit out a mouthful of blood, flipped several somersaults in midair, and then fell. How is that possible? Luo Yifan looked at Yi Shiwen in disbelief. How could he be so powerful? Even if he had just broken through to the realm of the true way, he shouldn't be so strong. After all, he had been in the true way for 10 years. How could it be possible? It is not as good as a person who has just stepped into the true way. Demon, who the hell is he? How could he be so powerful? Monster, you must be possessed by some evil spirit. It must be like this. It must be controlled by some devil emperor in the depths of the evil spirit realm, and you are going to subvert my Yuanzong. Luo Yifan suddenly shouted. A big hat covered it in an instant. How did he know that Yi Shiwen actually had a powerful weapon called the Mysterious Space, and the true masters competed for the understanding of the Tao? Although Luo Yifan stepped into the true way more than 10 years earlier than Yi Shiwen had a mysterious space. As long as he kept burning the spirit stone, injecting spiritual energy, Yi Shiwen's understanding of the Tao will also rise slowly. After the last few days, Yi Shiwen almost burned all the mid-grade spiritual stones on his body, leaving only a mere 1,000 mid-grade spiritual stones. Lingxi, Yi Shiwen's understanding of Tao has also shown a leap-forward development in the past few days. It is not worse than Luo Yifan at all, and even surpasses Luo Yifan. Therefore, although Yi Shiwen has not yet reached the peak combat power of the first level of true Tao, he has already surpassed Luo Yifan. Brush. The answer to him was a sharp piercing sound, a gorgeous brilliance, and a knife light slashed towards Yi Shiwen in the air. This time, Luo Yifan has learned to be obedient, and did not dare to take it hard. His figure swayed slightly, and he jumped several dozen meters away. Boom! The knife light slammed on the ground, directly creating a huge pit more than 10 meters wide and 5 or 6 meters deep. What is Yi Shiwen's origin? It was surprising enough to hear that he beheaded Luo Fangyi, but now Luo Yifan, a disciple of true Tao, who can oppress him, has no power to fight back. What the hell is wrong? What? Quote. Senior brother Luo is very famous. One-handed sword art is a powerful presence in the younger generation. How could he be oppressed by a newcomer like Yi Shiwen who just joined? Damn it, this is too perverted. This kind of strange scene made many disciples who were watching secretly scolded, but they were more surprised. This is simply genius, it's terrible, it's only a short period of time. The cultivation base can actually be improved to this level. This is a talent that defies the sky, and maybe in the future, he will be an invincible master at the level of the 4 major disciples. Originally, everyone thought that if Luo Yifan made a move, Yi Shiwen would be doomed no matter how powerful he was. At most, he would be able to escape the catastrophe with difficulty until all the elders and true disciples arrived. But now Luo Yifan was completely suppressed by Yi Shiwen after he tried his best to fight back. Yi Shiwen, why don't we stop? My sister and the others can be investigated again. Luo Yifan said unexpectedly at this time, a sly look flashed in his eyes. There was an uproar among the disciples watching the battle, and Luo Yifan, who has always been domineering, actually gave in. Could it be that Yi Shiwen really forced him to have nowhere to go? Yi Shiwen, can't let him go, his eyes flickering must be plotting how to kill you. As long as you stop and let him breathe, he will fight back immediately. This person has strength and scheming, let him escape, in the future it will be a huge trouble. Yi Mo's voice suddenly said at this time. Exactly, this is an incomparably good opportunity. He came to kill you first. It is a good opportunity to end him. No one can say anything. Yi Shiwen's face was expressionless, and he just slashed straight out, without any pause at all. Luo Yifan's words had no effect on him at all. How could he not know Luo Yifan's abacus? How could Yi Shiwen believe such nonsense? With one knife after another, the light of the knife smashed the rays of light, slashing the heavens and the earth, bringing out strips of dazzling light in the sky, and the knife fatally slammed towards Luo Yifan. Luo Yifan was so depressed in his heart, who would have thought that he would be suppressed to such an extent by an ant that he had never looked down on before. Luo Yifan has grown up in the name of a genius since his debut, and now he is an invincible master at the true level, and his strength is tyrannical, naturally needless to say. He didn't take Yi Shiwen in his eyes at all. Although Yi Shiwen might have killed Luo Fangyi and the other masters trained by the Luo family, so what? It is also impossible to be his opponent, there is only one dead end. Originally, when he wanted to come, Yi Shiwen was not his opponent at all, an ant that could be killed at will, but now this ant forced him to be arrogant, and he had to bow his head. He didn't know how Yi Shiwen could have soared in such a short period of time, but he was extremely resentful. Yi Shiwen, are you really going to tear up your face with our Luo family? Zhang Hongyu shouted while fleeing. The masters of the true way escaped extremely fast, almost dragging out a long afterimage and fleeing away into the distance, and their figure turned into a rainbow light. Anyway, I've already offended you, so let's get offended to the end. Yi Shiwen said unmoved. If there was a possibility of less trouble, Yi Shiwen would of course also like it, but a proud person like Luo Yifan is now discounted by him. How can I be willing? At first glance, it is full of scheming, and in a blink of an eye, I turn my face and don't recognize anyone, and I want to kill myself. As eloquent as you are, you can't run away today, it's all doomed from the moment you want to kill me. Yi Shiwen said with a cold face. The speed was not slow at all, and it was a few knives again. The light of the knife was like a meteor piercing the sky, crossing the top of the mountain, and chasing after Luo Yifan. A few swords first locked all the space that Luo Yifan escaped. Luo Yifan roared again and again. The sword shines in Kyushu and slays the evil spirits. The long sword in Luo Yifan's hand was immediately wrapped in endless real energy. Luo Yifan's whole person had already merged with the long sword. The sword man was one, breaking through the endless void, and slammed into Yi Shiwen's sword. Light. Luo Yifan had used all his strength, and the long sword of his incarnation directly slashed the sky and slammed into those few sword lights. Boom! An endless wave of air swept across in an instant. Jotong's space began to ripple like a water surface, and the surrounding spiritual energy shook violently. Shish, shish. Yi Shiwen kept slashing out in his hands, one knife after another, each knife traversing the heavens and the earth, trying to cut through the void. Yi Shiwen, you must die today. Luo Yifan's eyes were red, and the long sword in his hand was stained with blood, and he chopped arbitrarily. Luo Yifan looked from a distance like a blood-stained ancient killing god, about to slay the sky and destroy the earth. Luo Yifan wanted to split Yi Shiwen's blade light, and a sword flew out, almost smashing the world, and a bloody sword a few hundred meters long suddenly slashed out, directly splitting Qin Fang in half. Yi Shiwen's face was slightly cold, and the long knife shot instantly. Golden light radiated in all directions, a terrifying knife energy was formed in an instant, and it shot out suddenly, with a terrifying movement, and rushed out as if it was going to shoot through the heavens and the earth. Boom! The two collided and exploded in the center. A huge and unparalleled aura storm instantly formed, sweeping everything. The endless spiritual energy was in motion, and a figure rushed inside, and Luo Yifan was also directly shaken into the air by the anti-shock force, which was able to relieve the terrifying force. But in the next second, Yi Shiwen had already rushed in front of him, and rushed in front of Luo Yifan. How can it be so difficult? Luo Yifan never thought that Yi Shiwen would be so difficult to deal with. Luo Yifan's sword energy swayed, and he firmly protected himself, preventing Yi Shiwen from getting close. The two exploded the vacuum in the air, and the sword chi were rampant. Yi Shiwen sneered, and as time went on, Luo Yifan fell into a disadvantage. There were large and small stab wounds on Luo Yifan's body. Although he tried his best to defend, he was still cut by Yi Shiwen. When Yi Shiwen was about to give him a fatal blow, a loud shout came from the sky when he raised the ground. Stop! Immediately after, a terrifying giant hand descended from the sky, instantly grabbing those swords and swords. Chapter 157. Stop! Immediately after, a terrifying giant hand descended from the sky, instantly grabbing those swords and swords. Those incomparably sharp swords, lights, swords and shadows were caught and destroyed by this big hand, and they were wiped out without any room for resistance. What are you two trying to do? A rainbow light flashed in the distance, and an old man in dark clothes flew all the way to the two of them. Elder Jingxuan, this Yi Shiwen has already been controlled by the Devil Emperor in the depths of the Devil World. He is a devil at all. Luo Yifan said quickly. The Elder Jin Zan looked at Yi Shiwen coldly and said. Yi Shiwen looked at the Elder Jin Zan lightly, squinted, and Yi Mo's voice came from his mind. Yi Shiwen, you have to be careful about this old thing. I just found out that this old thing was hiding in the distance and didn't come out. Before, I was only an elder who protected my disciples, but when Luo Yifan was bullying you, he didn't come out. And now you come out as soon as you have the upper hand. I think he is not a good person. Yi Shiwen nodded secretly in his heart. The eyes of this elder Jin Zan looking at him were quite unkind. It was definitely that those who came were unkind, and those who were kind would not come. Why don't you speak? The elder Jin Zan asked coldly. What do I need to say? Yi Shiwen said lightly. Elder Jin Zan, he has nothing to say, he must be the devil's scoundrel. Luo Yifan stared at Yi Shiwen with venomous eyes. I think it's also very suspicious. I don't need to use the search technique to reveal all your secrets. Elder Jin Zan said the search technique, which is extremely vicious. Generally, even when interrogating prisoners, the search technique is rarely used. Unless you are already convicted, or use it directly on a demon master, because after a search, the whole soul will collapse. Luo Yifan also grinned when he heard this. Yi Shiwen was doomed this time. There is a kind of pleasure in my heart. You dare, what are you dare to search my hun? Yi Shiwen stared at the elder Jin Zan coldly. He felt that the elder Jin Zan should be much stronger than him, but he was not at all. Don't be afraid, I'm comparable to the true way now, and you can be promoted to true disciple when you go out. You are only an elder, and your rank is only equal to mine. You dare to treat me as a demon, and search for my hun. What a brave man. Quote, Elder Jin Zan's expression did not change. He knew that what Yi Shiwen said was the truth, but he had already met him at this time, so he couldn't let him go. Otherwise, for such a potential person, once he was allowed to grow up in the future, his own is it not to face the disaster of extinction. What a boy with sharp teeth and a sharp mouth. Elder Jin Zan sneered again and again. If you are as eloquent as you are, you won't use today's search hun, the old man is sure. Said that Elder Jin Zan's big hand was deep in the air, condensed into a big hand composed of aura, and he wanted to directly hold Yi Shiwen in his hand. Arrive! A dazzling sword light flickered, and the sky-shattering sword chi burst out in an instant. Yi Shiwen was definitely not a person who would sit still. Knowing that the other party was not good, it was even more impossible for him to put his own destiny in the hands of others. Boom! Chongju's sword chi, like a star in the sky, fell fiercely and hit the big hand of Chi. The gasification big hand was split open in an instant, and the endless spiritual energy began to blow away wanton. Old guy, I'm going to sue the Council of Elders, so that you can die without a burial. Yi Shiwen shouted that if he was still an ordinary inner disciple, I'm afraid no one would care about him, but now he is comparable to the true way, although the realm has not yet been reached, but what true disciples have, he also has them, and what is the difference between them and true disciples? Elder Jin Zan didn't mean to stop at all, on the contrary, he tried to kill Yi Shiwen directly. Stop! A loud shout descended from the sky, and a sharp sword chi descended from the sky, instantly defeating all the offensives of Elder Jin Zan, and the energy overflowed. Everyone looked up and saw Lin Zontian descending from the sky on the rainbow light, and said to Jin Zan, Senior brother Jin Zan, what makes you have to do something to an inner disciple? Lin Zontian is getting closer. Jin Zan suddenly cursed in his heart. Why did Lin Zontian appear at this time? But he didn't take action, because with Lin Zontian here, he knew that he must be unable to accomplish anything. Senior brother Lin, I suspect that he has been possessed by the demon clan. He is a member of the Wu demon clan. Jin Zan replied. Is there any evidence? Lin Zontian said. Of course, this Yi Shiwen's cultivation has skyrocketed in a short period of time, and now it is comparable to the true way. It is really suspicious. We have reason to suspect that he is a demon. Luo Yifan said at this time. What kind of bullshit is this? Then according to what you said, I can also casually suspect that your Luo family are all pigs and dogs, and you can occupy a high position. If you cultivate to such a point, you must also be possessed by the demons and the demons. Collusion together, you want to subvert me and get the rule. Yi Shiwen said with a sneer, and he would also wear a big hat. You, courting death, Luo Yifan roared, just about to take another shot at Yi Shiwen. Exactly, I'm going to kill you right now, and I'm going to the Luo family to settle accounts, but I want to see what the Council of Elders is going to say. The true disciples killed me in the demon realm for no reason. What is your Luo family going to give? Explain. Yi Shiwen sneered. Sometimes this reason is very important, sometimes it is not worth mentioning at all. If he was killed here, why would Luo Yifan's reason for killing him matter? It doesn't matter. No one would be embarrassed by a dead person, an inner disciple and the Luo family. But now that Yi Shiwen is not dead, the situation is completely different. The Council of Elders is the place to make rulings, because the sect master, the supreme elder, the chiefs, etc. are basically in the depths of time and space all the year round, and they will not easily come forward, so many things are the responsibility of the elders below. Of course, if the Council of Elders is disturbed, then it must involve the elders or the true disciples. Although Yi Shiwen is not yet a true disciple, his combat power is comparable to that of the true way, and there are enough reasons to alarm the Council of Elders. Luo Yifan's face suddenly turned ugly. If Yi Shiwen dared to say this in front of him before, he would have slapped him to death, but now it is different, quite apprehensive. Or to put it bluntly, he couldn't beat Yi Shiwen, so he could only look at Yi Shiwen coldly. Okay, how dare you yell in front of me to kill people at every turn? He is really a demon, and he must have been controlled by the demons. Elder Jin Zan shouted, and many disciples around also heard their conversation. Immediately, he became a little suspicious. After all, Yi Shiwen's strength has grown too fast, and quietly far surpassed the fastest point they could imagine. After training in the demon realm, he was able to surpass all the core disciples. Even Luo Yifan, the true disciple, can't help him. Even they could see that Luo Yifan was more than helpless to Yi Shiwen, and was even forced into a dead end by Yi Shiwen. If it wasn't for Elder Jin Zan, I'm afraid Luo Yifan would be really in danger. Even in the face of a super expert of the third level of the true Tao like Elder Jin Zan, he dared to do it. Could it be that he was really possessed by the demons? Elder Jin Zan, whether or not he was controlled by the demons is not something that can be arbitrarily judged. If this is the case, if Luo Yifan intercepted the peerless genius of my Yuanzong on the spot, would he also be controlled by the demons? How dare you do such a maddening thing? Lin Zontian said lightly, but in an unquestionable tone. How can it be the same? How much credit Yifan has made for our One Yuan sect, how could it be the devil's scoundrel? Elder Jin Zan gritted his teeth and said, of course he knew that his so-called evidence was simply arrogant, but unexpectedly, Lin Zontian dismantled it without giving face at all. It's not over today, you Luo family can't finish it if you can't give me an explanation. Yi Shiwen said with a sneer. Even if Yifan is wrong, it's the wrong situation. Elder Jin Zan finally relaxed a little, knowing that once he got it into the elders' meeting, it would be troublesome, and there are still some old guys at the elders' meeting who focus on the interests of the sect. Then according to this, when I find a chance to kill him, I can also say that I made a mistake. Yi Shiwen said reluctantly. You, don't change the subject, now I want you to explain your problem, why is your cultivation so fast? Elder Jin Zan clamored for Yi Shiwen not to change the subject, but he himself was changing the subject. From Luo Yi the incident of killing Yi Shiwen became the reason for Yi Shiwen's rapid development. HMPH, do I need to explain to you? What kind of thing are you? Of course, the pigs and dogs can't understand my cultivation speed. Yi Shiwen was not afraid of his nonsense at all, because the One Yuan sect would not pursue such things, those true disciples, those elders, who do not have layers of secrets, who do not have adventures, but as long as they don't endanger the sect, it doesn't matter, and the Yuan sect will not be held accountable. Senior brother Jingxuan, this matter is not something you and I can solve. Luo Yifan's killing of Yi Shiwen will be reported to the Council of Elders. Even if Yi Shiwen is really suspected, there are elders in the punishment hall, so it's not your turn. Lin Zontian said coldly. Pray for the compatriots in the earthquake in Yunnan, I hope everyone is all right. Chapter 158 The Origin of Qingfang Mountain. Senior brother Jingxuan, this matter is not something you and I can solve. Luo Yifan's killing of Yi Shiwen will be reported to the Council of Elders. Even if Yi Shiwen is really suspected, there are elders in the punishment hall, so it's not your turn. Lin Zontian said coldly, isn't it a long time ago? Some people think that we are in the Qingfang Mountains, so it's easy to bully. Let's go, Lin Zontian said to Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen did not hesitate, and followed Lin Zontian and left on the rainbow light. Looking at the figures of the two leaving, Luo Yifan's face turned blue with anger. He had never hated a person so much, and he must smash this person into tens of thousands of pieces and kill them all. The elder Jin Zan's face was not good looking, and he was thinking about countermeasures. This time, the matter went to the Council of Elders. I'm afraid it won't be that simple. Yi Shiwen stepped behind Hongguang and followed Lin Zontian, neither hurried nor slow, and the two quickly passed a very long distance. Yi Shiwen, you really impressed me. Lin Zontian turned around and said. Yi Shiwen smiled, a rare expression of shyness. Lin Zontian was his elder, and he seemed to have a very good relationship with his father. He helped him several times, so Yi Shiwen was very relaxed in front of him. There is no need to be wary in front of others. What's more, Lin Zontian rescued Yi Shiwen several times. I didn't expect it either. Yi Shiwen said. This is not nonsense. He really didn't expect that he could cultivate to such a level in the demon realm, which was far beyond his expectations. Although he has not yet set foot on the true way, it is only a matter of time. He believes that he will definitely be able to set foot on the true way. I heard from your father before that you suddenly became enlightened. I didn't expect you to break through in a short period of time. Lin Zontian said with a smile. It is rumored that the ancients had an epiphany one day and soared in the daytime. Before, they were only regarded as myths and legends, but now after seeing you, I suddenly believe that maybe such people really exist. Yi Shiwen smiled and didn't speak, because he knew that he was not enlightened at all, but that there was a mysterious space in his mind, and this space was the fundamental reason why he was able to cultivate by leaps and bounds. However, the idea of enlightenment that I said casually to my father at the beginning has become the best excuse to cover up. Although it is difficult for ordinary people to understand this kind of thing, there are too many mysterious things in this world. They are hard to imagine, but they will not deny it. This is your blessing, you have to cherish it. Lin Zontian said, but let go of it and do it, as long as you think it's right. We old guys are not dead yet, how much can we do for you? Junior provides some shelter. Yi Shiwen smiled. Lin Zongkai was more than 100 years old, and for a true master, he was just beginning his life, just like the average person's 20s are similar. However, Lin Zongkai was over 100 years old, and he was able to cultivate to the peak of the third level of true Tao, which can also be called amazing. As Yi Shiwen's combat power has soared all the way to the realm of true Tao, Yi Shiwen's realm of true Tao is not as vague as before. In the past, for Yi Shiwen, the masters of true Tao were all equally inscrutable, and it was difficult to distinguish the strengths and weaknesses of them. But now, for Yi Shiwen, it is not so inscrutable, at least Yi Shiwen can tell the difference. In the past, Yi Shiwen always thought that Lin Zontian, the suzerain of Qingfeng Mountain Branch sect, was nothing more than an innate realm, or at most the peak of the 9th level of the 9th level, but this time, when he could really see through it, he realized that Lin Zontian was not only a master of the true way, but also a superstar of the pinnacle of the 3rd level of the true way. A master is much stronger than that Elder Jin Zan. So when Lin Zontian came over, Elder Jin Zan was very sensible and stopped doing it, not because he felt wrong, but because he knew very well that he was definitely not Lin Zontian's opponent. During this time, you made a lot of noise, but these are nothing. Lin Zontian is very clear about Yi Shiwen's disturbance during this period. He is very concerned about the youngest son of his old friend, not to mention that Yi Shiwen can toss so much. He didn't want to pay attention, but he didn't take it to heart at all. As long as you show enough potential and make enough credit for the sect, the Luo family will have nothing to do with you. Yi Shiwen nodded. He also had the same opinion. The most important thing in the One Yuan sect is talent and ability, as well as strength. Isn't it because of his own strength that Luo Yifan dares to be so reckless? Now Yi Shiwen also shows that in addition to enough talent and strength, the sect has to look at him with admiration. With the attention of the sect, the Luo family will naturally not be so reckless. It's also my negligence. I didn't make it clear to you. I didn't expect your strength to improve so fast, and you can actually reach this level. Lin Zontian said, our Qingfeng Mountain lineage is not very strong, but it is also strong. Some of the forces, a patriarch of our Qingfeng Mountain lineage is now in the group of elders. Yi Shiwen was stunned for a moment, but he didn't expect that the Qingfeng Mountain branch actually has a patriarch of the Supreme Elder, which was far beyond his expectations. You must know that the number of Supreme Elders is very small, and among the many branches, it is not everyone has a patriarch at the level of the Supreme Elder. Except for the 3 major branches, there are only 5 or 6. These are without exception the most powerful group in the branch. As for the Qingfeng Mountain branch, among the many branches, they can only be regarded as middle-ranked, so Yi Shiwen never thought that there would be a patriarch of the elder level. But also, if the Qingfeng Mountain One Yuan sect didn't have a strong backer, how could they keep such treasures as the blood primordial fruit, which would have been snatched away long ago? Master, the old man, is very satisfied with your performance. Lin Zontian said, the people of the Luo family have been a little too arrogant in recent years. You just do what you think you should do. Don't say you occupy the Li, so what if you don't take care of yourself? the people of the Luo family are not easy to mess with, are we soft persimmons from the Qingfang Mountains? Lin Zontian said lightly, but his tone was undeniably domineering, guarding the short, and someone from the Qingfang Mountain lineage, don't say it's right, so what if it's wrong? The disciples of the first line started. The One Yuan sect is crisscrossed with organizations and factions, and the factions organized by the disciples themselves are only one of them. There are also relationships among the 10 main peaks, as well as the relationships among the various branches, etc. Yi Shiwen was born in the Qingfang Mountain branch, and this brand will not change even if he enters the main sect. He is a disciple of the main sect and a disciple of the Qingfang Mountain branch. To bless the responsibility of the younger generation. All kinds of relationships are intricate and complicated. To be the leader, you have to spend a lot of time sorting out these relationship networks and adjusting the conflicts between these factions. Yi Shiwen doesn't want to spend most of his time in the future. Before, I wanted you to grow up freely, because you haven't come to the time when you need to join in, but now you can get in touch with this part in advance, just in time to take you to meet the ancestors in advance. Lin Zontian said, aren't you very strange, are we different from what we look like? Lin Zontian looked at Yi Shiwen and seemed to know what Yi Shiwen was thinking. He felt a little emotional. He was the same as Yi Shiwen back then. When he learned of the strength of his lineage, he was also very surprised. Unknown secret. Our lineage is quite special, different from others, and has always been relatively low-key. Lin Zontian said with a smile, so outsiders don't know much about our lineage, even our own lineage in Qingfang Mountain. The disciples of Maiden don't know much, because only those who have reached the level of true disciples can be regarded as real members of our disciples. However, most of them cultivate in the depths of time and space, and there are not many people who come out to walk. Actually, our lineage was handed down by the founder of Yi Yuan sect and the closed disciples he accepted in his later years. However, we have always been relatively low-key. After countless years, it has gradually become similar to the general branch. Lin Zontian said. Seeing that Yi Shiwen had some doubts, Lin Zontian told Yi Shiwen the origin of this lineage. The ancestor of the Qingfang Mountain line was a closed disciple of Yi Yuanzi, the founder of Yi Yuanzong, who was admitted to his family in his later years. He was completely grasped by the 10 disciples of Yi Yuanzi, and the 10 disciples of Yi Yuanzi were not very welcome to this sudden addition of junior brother. After all, if he joined in, he would definitely disrupt the existing situation, which is not what they want to see. The ancestors of the Qingfang Mountain lineage were unwilling to conflict with their brothers, but also had no interest in fighting for power and profit, so they left the main sect, established a line in Qingfang Mountain, passed down the line of Taoism, and existed as a branch of the Yuan dynasty, until now. Yi Shiwen also understands the reason why the Qingfang Mountain lineage has to keep a low profile. The other 10 main lines do not want the Qingfang Mountain lineage to be too strong to take their share. This is the best way. However, Yi Shiwen finally understood that it was no wonder that the Qingfang Mountain Yi Yuanzong looked inconspicuous, but it could have such a heavenly and earthly treasure as the blood primordial fruit. Chapter 159 The Council of Elders. Yi Shiwen didn't know, just when he followed Lin Zontian to the depths of the Yi Yuan sect to meet the ancestors of the Qingfang Mountain lineage. In a space deep in the Tongtian peak of the One Yuan sect, this space is very small, and it can only accommodate a large palace. This palace is the place where the high-level officials of the One Yuan sect discuss matters on weekdays. In a huge conference room, a round table was placed in the center, and many elders sat around the round table. In the center of the round table, a middle-aged man in a white robe sat in the center, but he saw that this man looked very approachable, but none of the elders here dared to look down on him. Because he is the head of the One Yuan sect, Wu Potion, the supreme ruler of the One Yuan sect, who controls the life and death of many people up and down the One Yuan sect. Wu Potion glanced at the people present, and a group of elders such as the meritorious elders, the punishment elders, etc. are all here. Those who can participate in this meeting are all high-ranking members of the One Yuan sect. They are extremely powerful, and the worst are all in addition to Wu Potion. There are super masters of the 7th level of the True Tao, and there are even masters in the legendary realm. Although they are not the highest cultivation group in the One Yuan sect, there is no doubt that this group of people controls the life and death of the One Yuan sect. Everyone knows. 10 days later, on Qianji Island in the East China Sea, let's have a martial arts meeting with several of our major forces. Wu Potion glanced at the crowd and said lightly, "Yes, we have already received their invitation, and we have also received the news that the royal family has already rushed there," said a penalty elder. Well, this time the royal family thought it was a secret that no one else knew about it. In fact, don't we know? They just wanted to take the opportunity of this demon invasion, organize a coalition, and then bring our 4 major forces into the royal family. Under the banner, "Complete the real great cause of unification," said a meritorious elder disdainfully. What their founding emperors could not do, now this little emperor wants to do it. What a funny joke. Although we are not afraid of the royal family, we can't help but take precautions. This emperor can be called a generation of outstanding people. With the deepening of the spirit of the real dragon, he is only less than 100 years old, and his skills are already unfathomable. I'm afraid it can really be comparable to a legend. No wonder he is so ambitious that he wants to make a feat that is enough to surpass the previous emperors. Wu Potion said, "The other 3 forces also have unknown intentions. This time, Mei Xing, you lead the team, you must be careful." Wu Potion was talking to a person next to him, but he saw that this person was about 20 years old. He was very charming and even a little seductive, but he was a man. No one knows about it. At this time, his face was full of evil spirits. Wang Meishing looked at the beauty, but he was a real evil star. He didn't know how many masters of the demon race he killed with his own hands, and his cultivation has already reached the legendary realm. Now, as the deputy head of the One Yuan sect, he is definitely a typical person who can't be seen by appearance. If they dare to stretch out their dog's claws, I will dare to chop them up. Wang Meishing said murderously, looking extremely charming, but speaking in a real male voice. This martial arts meeting is a good opportunity to show the strength of our One Yuan sect. Wu Potion said lightly, "This time, especially among the inner disciples, there is a good seedling. It's Yi Shiwen, I know, but this Yi Shiwen is too provocative. It took him a long time to join the general sect to offend so many people. Moreover, he also killed many elite disciples, so that the core seed disciples lost a lot of money." Small. At this time, a middle-aged man in a brown robe said, "This kind of person is not a monster but also a scourge. It is better to eradicate it as soon as possible." The man in the brown robe continued to speak. "I also know that this son has made rapid progress in his cultivation in a short period of time. I very much suspect that he is a spy of the demon race, and he is going to subvert my Yuan sect." Qian Wushuang, "It's not right for you to say that." At this time, an old man in purple clothes said, "If you say it like this, will we be able to produce geniuses in the Yuan dynasty in the future? But if a genius is born, it is a monster, or a demon controlled, will our unitary sect continue to develop in the future? Isn't a disciple like Yi Shiwen the kind of disciple we are looking for in the One Yuan sect? He is extremely talented, and maybe he will be an invincible master at the level of the 4 major disciples in the future." The purple-clothed old man continued, "I have been for so many years. I have never seen such a talented disciple before. You have to give up such a disciple easily. Qian Wushuang, I know that you and the Luo family have always been close. If you give up such a genius for the benefit of the Luo family, you simply cannot. You don't deserve to be an elder." The purple-clothed old man said bluntly, "He is the punishment elder of the One Yuan sect, and he is in charge of the punishment of the One Yuan sect." "What did you say? Why are you stubborn donkey talking about me?" Qian Wushuang said suddenly angrily. "Isn't that what I said? The Luo family is simply a nest of snakes and rats, and they haven't done enough things to do overbearing things over the years. Now I still want to harm Yi Shiwen. Don't think I don't know, the Luo family is the first to pick things up, and it's death. It's what it deserves. This is simply the cancer in our One Yuan sect, and it should be cut off." Elder Punishment said coldly, "You old man, am I confused or you are confused? You don't know what the sin of slaughtering disciples in the sect is." Qian Wushuang said with murderous intent, he just wanted to stand in Luo on one side of the family, the flag of carriages and horses is displayed. The Luo family has been operating in the Yuanzong for so many years, and the relationship network is spread throughout the entire sect. Do you have any evidence? The penalty elder said lightly, it's the fact that Luo Yifan intercepted and killed my inner disciple of the One Yuan sect on the spot. The evidence is conclusive. Such a person should be severely punished, otherwise, what is the dignity of my One Yuan sect's laws and regulations? You old man, you think I don't know, you just want to use this to attack Chu Jinkai's power, right? You know that Luo Yifan is the younger generation that Chu Jinkai has vigorously cultivated, and now you are holding on to a little problem, aren't you? Do you want to make Huang Luokan cheap after hitting Chu Jinkai? Tian Wushuang pointed out unceremoniously. The other elders didn't say a word, because this involved two of the four major disciples of the true disciples. The four so-called true disciples were Chu Jinkai, Huang Luokan, Shishiluo, and Qi Fanfan. Although it is said that the true disciples are basically qualified to compete for the head of the head, but in fact there are so many people, but there is only one position of head, so it is impossible for everyone to become head, and there are often only one of them. A small number of talents really have the ability to compete, and among the disciples of this generation, there is a saying of the so-called four major disciples. Only one step away from the legendary invincible masters, even among the younger generation of Deu Kingdom, they are the top. These four people have always been regarded as one of the most likely to become the leader. Even if they can't become the leader, there is no pressure at all to become the leader of the lineage. When these four people were fighting for the throne, many elders and even the elders of the Supreme Being all bet on the candidates they were optimistic about. Of course, the way they bet will not be based on the money of the Spirit Stone kind, but their whole being. Clearly support one of the disciples to become the head of the sect. These elders and even the supreme elders are different from the factions that the true disciples usually form themselves, and the general disciples they gather are different from the general disciples. Extraordinary influential figures, once they support someone with a clear-cut stand, they are naturally a great help. They won't bet easily, but once they bet, they must be convinced that he can become the leader, and then they will do their best to help him, because from the moment the bet is made, their destiny is to share weal and woe. On the throne of the sect, they can get extraordinary benefits even if they are one person. And this Tian Wushuang was one of Chu Jinkai's supporters. At this time, he didn't care about covering up and said directly. Because the entire Luo family, including Luo Yifan, are actually supporters of Chu Jinkai. The Luo family recognizes it very well. There is no one in the Luo family who can compete for the top position. Although Luo Yifan has good intelligence, but it is too far away from the four major disciples, not to mention talent, just strength is too far behind. The strength of these four major disciples is almost comparable to that of the Supreme Elder. With any of these four people, they are all if there is no chance, it is better to choose a full support than that. Each of these four major disciples is not a simple person, following them will naturally get a lot of benefits. The Luo family also got a lot of benefits from Chu Jinkai. The previous matter of Hua Mengan, the head was angry. Unexpectedly someone dares to deal with his closed disciple. Is this the majesty of Kai Guguo's provocative head? Later, it was Chu Jing who came out in person, and finally settled the matter. Although he also paid a lot of money in the end, it was generally good. However, the punishment elder was a supporter of Huang Luokan's side, and attacking Luo Yifan at this time was to cut off Chu Jinkai's arm. Everyone knew in their hearts, but they were unwilling to come forward, especially the elders who supported the other two disciples. When they saw this scene, they all planned to sit on the mountain and watch the tiger fight and did not speak. Chapter 160 Senior Brother Yi Wanan. Everyone looked at Wu Potion and didn't know what Wu Potion meant. After all, he was the head of the sect. He was in charge of the One Yuan sect. He could say nothing about the One Yuan sect. As an elder, he could not interfere with his decision casually. Yi Shiwen can't move. I believe everyone should know about his talent. It can be said that it is absolutely rare. We need such a talent in the One Yuan sect, not to mention that he did not make any mistakes. Tian Wushuang, you go and tell the Luo family, in the future. Don't target Yi Shiwen, Wu Potion said, making up his mind about this matter. Sect Master, this Yi Shiwen is too arrogant, and he is ruthless towards his fellow sects. The higher the talent, the more a scourge. Tian Wushuang still wanted to fight. If you say that, Luo Yifan is even more of a scourge, openly killing my disciples, how bad the impact is, I think you should all know. At this time, the criminal law elder said, okay, this is the end of the matter. Tell me, who will lead the team this time? Wu Potion didn't seem to want to continue discussing this issue, and continued. Yi Shiwen came out from the mysterious space in the depths of the Yuan dynasty. Flying in the void with the rainbow light, he did not know that the sect had already held a special meeting to discuss his affairs. Although he said he wanted to go to the Council of Elders, Yi Shiwen also knew after meeting the ancestors of the Qingfeng mountain lineage. I am afraid that this matter alone can't help Luo Yifan, although he openly intercepted Yi Shiwen as a big taboo, yes, but after all, isn't he all right? At most, he will be punished a little bit. What does this mean to him? Yi Shiwen, I don't see any hope of expecting this Yuan sect to do justice to you. Yi Mo said as he appeared on Yi Shiwen's shoulder. However, I think that Luo Yifan is definitely a narrow-minded person. If you don't look for him, he will find a chance to attack you. What do you mean, it's better to strike first? Yi Shiwen asked. He also narrowed his eyes. Anyone who is familiar with Yi Shiwen will know that when Yi Shiwen narrows his eyes, it is often when his heart is full of murderous intent. Yes, this is the way the world is. It's useless to expect others. The only way to do it is to strike first. He can find information about you everywhere and want to kill you, can't you? Yi Mo said, you humans don't pay attention to one person. Isn't it time to return the gift now? But Luo Yifan is now in the Luo family's gathering place, so it's not easy to start. Yi Shiwen said. He can't stay out of the house for the rest of his life. Find his trace sooner or later, and then start to cut grass and roots. Yi Mo said with a smile, matching his small body. It is somewhat cunning and cute, not so ruthless. Yi Shiwen also means this. Being able to kill him successfully this time doesn't mean that the Luo family will never do anything to him from now on, he can be sure. The Luo family must be somewhere, plotting something to deal with Yi Shiwen. Luo Yifan can really be said to be in serious trouble now. If it can't be solved, there will be many problems in the future. In addition to killing Luo Yifan, the most urgent task now is to cultivate as soon as possible to truly break through to the true level. As long as you can break through to the true level, then Luo Yifan will definitely not be your opponent, and you won't even need a few tricks. You can completely kill him. Yi Mo said. Unfortunately, the demon realm was supposed to be a very good way to train, but now I'm just an inner disciple, so I can't go in and out freely at all. Yi Shiwen said. Originally, Yi Shiwen planned to be promoted directly to become a true disciple. After he became a true disciple, he could freely enter and leave the demon realm. At that time, he could find those true-level demons to kill. In this case, Yi Shiwen should soon a master who can really be promoted to the level of true Dao. At that time, Yi Shiwen's combat power can even compete with the second layer of true Dao, and even kill him at the back. Retreat. Right now, Yi Shiwen only has the strength comparable to the true way, but if he can break through to the true way, then his strength will have an earth-shaking change, which is not the same thing at all. However, both Lin Zontian and the patriarchs of Qingfeng Mountain felt that Yi Shiwen could not be promoted to the true disciple now, and the sect also hoped that Yi Shiwen would not be promoted to the true disciple now, but to participate in the 5 major forces as a disciple of the inner sect. Huiwu. This time Huiwu, to put it bluntly, is a gathering to show off each other's muscles. The 5 major forces, from the inner disciple to the true disciple, have all competed for a circle to determine each other's strength. This is also an old rule. In the case of the 5 major forces restraining each other and trying not to break out large-scale melee, the only way to detect each other's strength, so the major sects will try their best to bring out all the essence to collide. This time, Yi Shiwen was born. In a short period of time, his combat power was comparable to that of the true Dao. This was an opportunity for the One Yuan sect. In a 3-level battle, Yi Shiwen's combat power was enough to sweep away the inner disciple level battle. At that time, the One Yuan sect will have a lot of face. At that time, the various rewards of the sect will be rewarded on a large scale, and if Yi Shiwen is promoted to the true disciple, and with Yi Shiwen's strength, among the true disciples, he is not outstanding. Useless. Of course, they are all for Yi Shiwen's good, but for Yi Shiwen, there is also one less channel for rapid improvement. For him, facing the true masters of the demon race, with the suppression of the Tianyuan mirror, he can often be better. The level challenge is definitely a good place to go, but now it is impossible to go. And the most important thing is that Yi Shiwen's middle-grade spirit stones in the space ring have almost been consumed. There are only more than 1,000 middle-grade spirit stones left, and there are not many left. More importantly, with the Yi Shiwen's cultivation level has soared to the point where the middle-grade spirit stones are no longer enough to consume, and the high-grade spirit stones must be able to withstand consumption. However, among the sects, only true disciples will issue high-grade spirit stones in their monthly schedules, and the task of rewarding high-grade spirit stones is limited to only true disciples, because those tasks are often very difficult. Dangerous, if you are not at the true level, you will die if you go, so these extremely dangerous tasks also require high strength. This has fallen into a dead knot, and this dead knot can only be unraveled after participating in the 5 major forces in this round of martial arts and returning to be promoted to the true disciple. But for Yi Shiwen, this means that during this period of time, Yi Shiwen has no means of rapid improvement. Compared with the acquired body, the innate Lord pushes the depth of the true essence and the resonance with the spiritual energy between heaven and earth. It is often the perception of heaven and earth. In other words, the realm before the true way focuses more on accumulation, completing a process of accumulation, and accumulation in the flesh. For practitioners of martial arts, the physical body and the perception of heaven are indispensable. The physical body carries the primordial spirit. Martial arts practice is a vast and boundless sea. The primordial spirit is the person who wants to cross the sea, and the physical body is the boat. The chances of getting through are also getting higher. The realm of acquired and innate can only be regarded as the beginning of preparation for crossing the sea, shipbuilding, reinforcement, and when the true way is reached, it is time to start training the people in the boat. You must be able to swim, read charts, row boats, and so on. Exercise. The legend is the real departure. Yi Shiwen has now completed the accumulation of acquired and innate, and the following is the initial understanding of the way of heaven. At this stage, the mysterious space in Yi Shiwen's body can exert greater power. As long as there are enough spirit stones, he can use the mysterious space in the body to comprehend the way of heaven as more than 10 times more efficient than others. At this stage, Yi Shiwen's advantage is much greater than before, but at this critical moment, he has no spiritual stone. For Yi Shiwen, this was a motor boat that ran out of fuel and could only move at the speed of a sailboat. However, there is nothing to do. After a month, they will go to Qianji Island in the East China Sea for this time. But it was useless to think about this at this time. Yi Shiwen went straight out of the depths of the One Yuan sect and went to the Qianyu Pavilion Station, but did not expect that at this time, the Qianyu Pavilion Station was already a city like a city. The situation of 2 or 3 kittens is completely different. There are many inner disciples, and the core disciples are going to squeeze in here, and even the outer disciples can only watch from the outside, watching the inner and core disciples line up with a little envy. Yi Shiwen glanced at it, and there were 2 old disciples of Qianyu Pavilion standing guard at the door to maintain order. These original newcomers, at this time, were all arrogant and proud, looking at these old people with pride. Inner sect and core disciples who are unable to climb high. This is how the same thing. Yi Shiwen was a little strange, and the rainbow light fell. At this time, many disciples saw Yi Shiwen, and they made way for Yi Shiwen, and respectfully praised, "Senior brother Yi Wanan." At this time, no matter how old the disciples are, or how senior they are, they don't dare to stand up in front of Yi Shiwen. There are 7 more, just 15 votes short of Shaochen to explode another person,